We'll call the meeting order. That's the superintendent, please stand for the pledge.
Stand folks. Father, we just thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to be here, Lord. Just thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to serve students and the constituents of the Lee County. And most of all, Lord, so you, Lord, we just ask that you be with us today, that we seek your wisdom, we seek your guidance and decisions that we make. We ask, Lord, that everything we say and everything we do, Lord, is pleasing to you, and that it will be beneficial for our students and our students in our county. Lord, we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to see everybody here. It's time we welcome our visitors. This will be a time for anyone who wants to address the board of public comment. Now would be your opportunity.
Get out of here. How are y'all today?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
I'm coming today on a strange mission. I think you've been approached before with the children's table. The food pantry, the Cedar Key Food Pantry, which services Levy County, we're not just limited to Cedar Key. We have lost our place in the Methodist Church after 17 years. And we've been scrambling to try to find another place, and it has not been successful. Property in Cedar Key is limited, and it's expensive, and it isn't seeming to be available at this point. We're getting down the wire, and now we're getting sort of desperate. And the Episcopal Church has a large parking area, and they have agreed to allow us to approach them with either it has to be portable, but it does not have to move. For USDA, it has to stay there, but it has to be moved out in case of storm. So whatever we get has to have wheels. Now we're starting to get the picture. So I have exhausted all other resources at this point in time, and I'm getting down to the week before Thanksgiving when this pantry will close. Currently, it services 60-something families, and we have, the demographics are at least 24 seniors. This changes 164 adults and 99 to 120 teenagers and children and 4 to 5 infants. This varies with month to month, week to week. We've produced 200,000 pounds of food through this facility since last January to August. That's this booklet that I'm going to let you have. There'll be other details when USDA approved, and we are bread of the mighty, and we are under inspections and it's very strict. So we work closely with the children's table, and they have sent me a letter of support because we're partners in a way, and so we provide foods they can't. We also provide, and in this book you'll see that we've done things with the health department, giving shots, and also health notices, worried about mosquito control, teaching people other health aids. So the point being, I'm desperate. So I have had a history in the past of working with a school bus if that is all we can get. At this point, rather than let the system die, I would like to limp it along till I can find something better. So I do take the opportunity to call your school transportation department, and there may be some surplus buses coming up. The difference between my need and the children's table is mine, I don't want a loader. I don't need it to run. I just need it to roll. If it has to be towed, it'll be towed. So I can't afford anything because I have no income. I don't collect money from these people. It's all nonprofit. And so I need this to be as cheap or as best I can, unless someone in this audience can help me. So I need a low cost, no running bus.
How about Bluebird bus?
Pardon me?
Carol, you want to talk about what we got already?
So I was gonna let Ms. Sue finish it, and I was gonna ask Mr. Chair if he could just correct two items. There's two in finance on the consent agenda. We have a bus.
Number 316, that's the right one.
I have to say that between the superintendent and Mr. Masters of transportation, they found something there that we can do to help continue the resources that you provide our community. I know it's a fruit that room. And Ms. Sue, I hope you know that we always want to be great partners. Our school district and the school there in Cedar Key, we know that it's a bright shining star in our community. You know, because of it, because of the great work by people like you, we're happy to help out.
I can't express my gratitude for this because it has consumed me for weeks.
I know it has, Ms. Sue.
Absolutely sick of this. The other thing is, this will not probably be the end point. The school bus is a Band-Aid, and hopefully we'll find a good facility. We won't be able to provide exactly what we could, but we're going to provide meat. Meat's important, and we do service Levy County. Nobody likes to ride all that way for a thing of hamburger.
Mr. Etheridge has just one gift, that it needs to be hamburger, it can be beef, so he would appreciate that.
I'm absolutely speechless, and I just am so grateful to you all, and do you want the book I gave you?
Of course, and you'll give us the superintendent.
It has all our documentation. We're kind of proud of the service, 17 years.
Should be proud.
Everybody, I don't even know who to thank first. I'll thank you all. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
we've got for us, Mr. Masters, and I'm
He's
sure
the
you're talking
man.
about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
But there's some supporting documentation and things that we need to make sure that we get to you all, to make sure that we can do this.
The 501(c)(3),
Yes, ma'am.
all that. Yeah, thank you. You'll get it. Yeah, we'll write it.
Any other public comments? See some there, I do have a point of order, I overlooked the adoption of the agenda, item C. Is there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
In addition to,
In addition to-
one, field trip, or I'm gonna do deletion add, strike that.
Which one?
It's already.
It's on the
Oh, it's
addition.
on. Okay.
Move adoption of the agenda as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. Okay, now we're back to the schedule. Item E, Lee County Schools Foundation and Duke Energy, Ms. Annie Whiters.
Good morning. Y'all know if I'm on the agenda, it means good news.
That's right.
And I am thrilled to be back again this morning with Dorothy Purdue from Duke Energy for another exciting check presentation. And before I let Dorothy say a few words, I wanted to talk about our latest project with Duke. Many of you know that Duke Energy has been a long-time Paragon sponsor of the foundation, and we certainly appreciate their years of support. For many years, the foundation has been able to provide classroom grants, fund STEM-focused projects, and award college scholarships because of the Duke support. But most recently, the foundation was able to organize a summer reading camp for first grade students as part of Duke's focus to prevent the summer reading slide in early elementary students. So because of that partnership, we were able to provide 20 spots at every one of our elementary schools this summer for first graders to attend this mini camp. The camp was planned by our elementary school reading coaches, and it was ran from teachers at each school. We were also able to provide transportation to and from the camp, which all of you know is huge. Our focus there was eliminating any excuse that would keep a student who could really benefit from the camp away. So we're really proud of that. The campers spent 6 days immersed in activities that fostered their love of reading. They were supplied a take-home kit filled with workbooks and activities that they brought back and forth to the camp. And then community volunteers from the foundation board and then from other organizations in the community as well volunteered to come in and read with the kids, they played games with the kids, they did crafts with the kids, all focused on reading. On the last day of camp, the students took their backpacks, which were provided by Duke Energy home. They were filled with resources and materials, all of the workbooks from the camp, as well as 2 fiction and 2 nonfiction books. They also had a reading goodie bag that was provided from the Levy County Public Library in there with some other books to continue reading throughout the summer. We had also invited the parents to come in on one of the days to join their students so that the teachers could model some strategies and provide some resources to help continue that learning throughout the summer. So unfortunately, we're still working on comparing all of the data to see the results of preventing the reading slide, but so far from what we have seen, it looks extremely successful. These numbers are, of course, off the record because we don't have all of our data in yet, but from what we've seen so far, it looks like a 70% rate of students who maintained their reading level, a 25% increased their reading level, and then only 5% had a slight slide. So far it looks extremely successful. We've heard lots of positive feedback from those who were involved, and we certainly are appreciative of Duke for helping us make it happen. So I'll go ahead real quick and get my Beast Feast plug in. And remind all of you that the Beast Feast is this Saturday out at Etheridge Produce, 6 o'clock. If you still need tickets, Carol has some, Chris has some, or you can contact me. But we can get you tickets. Duke Energy will also be represented at the Beast Feast on Saturday. They'll be teaming up with Central Florida Electric to provide our gator meat and some of our ticket drawing items. So that's just another example and another way that Duke steps in, and they show their commitment to our students and to our schools in Levy County, and we certainly appreciate them.
Thank you very much. Many of you know me, I'm Dorothy Perdue, the Government Community Relations Manager for Duke Energy here in Levy County. And, we took a different angle this year with the grant. In the past, we've had STEM grants and we've also provided scholarships. Reading has always been foundational to our mission because if you don't have solid reading skills, you're not going to be able to learn much more from, as you continue on in your education. And so I was really excited when Annie said she wanted to take this turn and really put a nice program together. I cover 6 counties, and I only had one other county that wanted to do a summer reading slide type of program. And as you can hear by the preliminary numbers, they have been very, very successful. And so we're really excited that we've had this opportunity to partner with you on that. This past year, Duke Energy as a company donated $3.2 million to education organizations, 131 of them in 6 states. And we cover 35 counties here in the state of Florida, and our portion of that was about $670,000 for the 35 counties. I cover 6 counties, and my portion was really, $100,000. So I know that we have been able to provide the Levy County Schools Foundation with $10,000 this past year for the summer slide program. And I look forward to opening up our grant program again this upcoming November, December, and January, and come up with yet another really successful program on behalf of your students. We're proud to partner with you and know that we'll be able to continue that moving forward. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope the next has her check off sometime. Continue. Right. Next on our item of business is item F, is our Disability Awareness Week, and Dr. Paul is here to give us a presentation.
Yeah, so briefly this year, because we have an amazing story that's going to be shared with all of us, so I won't take as much time as I have in the past. Maybe a later few words. I timed myself, 5 minutes. Okay, so we're here. It's an honor to stand before you to celebrate Awareness Weeks. Good morning, school board members. Our chairman, Mr. Etheridge, our school board attorney, David Delaney, our fine superintendent, Mr. Edison, and of course, Angela. And our guests and our colleagues in the audience, thank you so much for being here this morning. A little history. So on June 13th of 2008, Governor Chris signed into law Senate Bill 856, the bill called Disability History and Awareness Instruction, and requires school districts in the state of Florida to designate the first 2 weeks in October as Disability History and Awareness Weeks. The bill also allows schools to provide information about disability history and promote the awareness of contributions of individuals with disabilities. Our schools have embedded disability awareness instruction throughout the year within the core content. And for our department, ESE and Student Services, we, backed by popular demand, submitted a daily trivia for 2 weeks. And so the first person is to all staff in the district, and the first person to respond with the correct answer would receive a $25 voucher to defray the cost of classroom materials. So we had winners every day. You have a copy, board members, of those questions and the answers. I don't want you to cheat. So later on, not today, but later, I want you to take the trivia test. And if you miss more than one, you need to call a friend. If you miss more than 3, you're going to need 2 or 3 services. You're going to reach out to us, and we'll help support you in that. Okay? So making it fun, some history, some fun facts, if you will. So the first special ed class started in Jacksonville, Florida in 1926. And since that time, specially designed instruction and related services have been expanded in Florida. Now we have more than 321,000 students in the state of Florida who are receiving specially designed instruction. A year ago, we had over 381 students in Florida. So as you see, the numbers have declined. I attribute that in Levy County because several years ago, we were second in the state. We had 21% of our students in Levy County that were students with disabilities. Today, I stand before you, we have 17%, which means that we're doing a better job in the core. We're doing a better job in school. We've done a better job of providing the necessary supports and services to our young children. So that's a time to celebrate. So I'm happy to share that information with you. In your folder, board members, you have, and I need my help. Okay, so I'm only going to highlight the top 5 accomplishments in Levy County. And we have a copy of that, and we're going to project so that our audience and friends can see. I think I can turn that on. Give us 1 second. So Mr. Edson has it. Again, it's always a celebration. So the School Board of Levy County celebrates Disability History Awareness Week, the top 5 accomplishments. And you have to remember, or a friendly reminder, that a lot of the data is lab data that comes from the Department of Education. For example, the federal uniform graduation rate is for our students with disabilities 17-18 was 74%. And remember, the federal uniform graduation rate is when the students enter 9th grade, they have to graduate within 4 years. All of us that know ESE real well know that we can serve our students from the age of 21, which means, number 2, standard diploma graduation rate, 94%. That means our students may not graduate in 4 years, and that's okay. They may have a 5-year plan or a 6-year plan, but they're graduating. That's cause for celebration. Regular class placement. Our students with disabilities who spend 80% or more of their time with their non-disabled peers. That's the least restrictive environment. That's huge. Most districts in the state of Florida are around 70%, 60%. And what that means is that their students are spending more time with their disabled students rather than being included with non-disabled students. That's wonderful. That's great. That's cause for celebration here in Lee County. 3, employ or continue their education, whether it be a technical education, whether it be colleges or universities, based on 18-19 school year, 67%. And last but not least, and I share this each time, career and technical education. 15% of our students, approximately 15% of our students are enrolled, and many of them take their industry certification and do quite well. So there's a lot of support and a lot of reasons in Lee County to celebrate. So I just want to share the top 5. Questions, comments?
Dr. Hall, yes, just real quick, and it's a little bit off subject, but I think it does go along with these, the success of ESE students. But, you know, in the past we've had Kyle Quincy's program, and it hasn't continued. I think he's in a different position. So tell me about those students, and will that program continue because it was so successful?
Very good question. I appreciate that. Yes, Kyle Quincy hired as our transition specialist this year. He's going to continue that program. It's going to look a little bit different. We have received money from vocational rehabilitation called the Weebly Workplace Learning Experience. And so we're expanding our work experiences for our primary population are our students with severe cognitive disabilities. These are students who typically would not have had opportunities that you have afforded to them for several years. And we thank you. We will return. But it's going to be district-wide.
Right.
Absolutely, it's going to be district-wide. And I will tell you that Kyle is working diligently, working in all the 3 major communities. We have a student in Cedar Key that's been brought to our attention who also need those services as well in the community. And our goal is to prepare our students for life after high school. You know, the arithmetic, the academics is equally important, but those life skills and being able to leave us and move on to secondary is critical. So it's in a different role, but he'll be doing the same, but just on a broader scale.
So that program is in the works and still continuing?
Yes, ma'am.
And I think it's great. It's great for the students, and it's great that they are working on that, and that you have the funding to do that. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, that's a very good question. As you can see, we're very proud of our students and their achievements and the support that they receive from their families, from the school, from the administration, and of course our board members. Thank you for your support in what we do here in Lee County. So now, I'm saving the best for last. Got kind of teary last night when I was thinking about this, but it's a happy tear. So, next, you're going to hear a heartfelt story from an awesome Chiefland Elementary pre-K classroom. And I have to read my notes, so I don't forget anyone. Our awesome CS pre-K teacher, Ms. Jernigan, her incredible paraprofessional, Ms. Stansfield, Laura Clark, who's our district pre-K coordinator, and last but not least, who's sitting before us, I think you may make her, I'm glad you're here, is Beth McLean, who's our district visually impaired teacher.
Hi, guys.
And you heard our fine young man, his name is Taj. Taj came to us last year in our pre-K classroom, and I'm going to stop there. But they're going to talk about their journey. They're going to talk about the challenges, the barriers, the journey of Taj in a school and a classroom that they had never seen before, had to learn his way of work with a lot of support from family and schools, district, and others in the community. It was really a collaborative effort. So with that, I'm going to ask the ladies to come forward. And Mom is here, Miss Allen is here, of course. And I want you to come forward and tell your story. How we brought this all together to make some amazing experiences for our little guy, Taj.
So good morning, Mr. Superintendent, school board members, our district attorney, staff, parents, and visitors. This morning I'm going to be speaking on behalf of Ms. Jernigan. This is our classroom teacher. This is Taj Allen. This is his mother, Miss Lisa Allen. No one wanted to speak this morning. Miss Beth McLean and Miss Susan Stansel. So, and many therapists at the school, your speech and language pathologist, your physical therapist, your occupational therapist, so he's had services for Taj. He loves music, and that's what he's listening to now, and so that's why he may belt out a line or two for us, or clap along. So this is from Miss Jernigan. This is Miss Jernigan's thoughts. At our first pre-K, or let me start at the beginning. Her first reaction to the news about having a visually impaired child was, I can't do this. He was started in 2018, August of 2018. He is visually impaired with no reaction to light. Visually, he's completely blind. She said she couldn't do this. Her experience with children who have severe deficits has been very limited. She said children with severe autism in her classroom, but this new challenge scared her beyond belief. There was a lot of prayer involved. At our first IEP meeting, I met Taj's mother, Miss Allen. She was very overwhelmed as Taj had been dismissed from previous schools for biting, scratching, and pinching other children and caregivers. She sensed the desperation in her that convinced her that she wanted him here at CES. He would be closer in case of an emergency, and she seemed so relieved when she learned that he would be here. So that IEP meeting, we also had Ms. Holman, our principal, so in our direction. So we had a big team. When we had our therapist there too, and we all had to make a plan for Taj to see what was going to work for him. So Ms. Jernigan said with great apprehension, she began this journey with Taj. She knew he would need full attention at all times. He would need to build trust and feel secure in an environment other than what he was used to. And then looking back, her appreciation of this journey is beyond measure. Taj's paraprofessional, Ms. Stansel, has done great with him. She has been with him since February of 2019 and he has made leaps and bounds. He can sit and participate in circle time, which is something he was unable to do before. He is potty trained, which is awesome. It's hard to potty train many of our children, and a child who is visually impaired, that was a feat that I did not think we would reach. So that is awesome. I'll work hard on that too. Looking back, my apprehension of this journey, I'll read that, sorry. Let's see. When a child needs paraprofessional support to find the right person who can best work with the child's needs and the teacher involved is to make it successful. We are very fortunate to have made great success and progress with Taj and look forward to be a part of his journey as he excels. And so, this is his second full year at CES, and I asked anybody else if they wanted to say anything. But this is him. He sings. He loves music. He will dance for you. At first, I thought he identified us by the song because mine was "Row, Row Your Boat" when I showed up. So everybody had a different song. Like when he first saw you, he feels you. We tell him who we are. I told him today it could be kind of like church. So preparing for this, but he's just an awesome little boy in this faith, and thanks for sharing him with us, Mom.
Good morning. I just wanted to say really quick a couple things. That I was glad that Dr. Hall asked Ms. Jernigan and her team to share the story because it's real. It's that apprehension that she felt, we all feel sometimes when we have a student with unique needs, and that's because we want to make sure we're serving them the way we need to be serving them. And it's scary sometimes when it's a student with a disability that we've never experienced before. And so I know Ms. Beecham can speak for it, other administrators that are in the room. We have different kids like Taj that come to us all the time, and we, as a team, even though it's scary at first, we do get through it, and it's that teamwork. And in this case, we have a parent who is awesome. She's there every day to support him and us and answer questions we have. And it's just that team effort that really works. And so I was really excited to share the story because we've had some hard days, haven't we? We've had hard days and trials that we've gotten through. And yes, we do. But because we can trust each other and we're a team, we can get through those hard days to enjoy the really good days. And in fact, you don't know about Taj that you don't know. He's the best dressed student on our campus. By far, every day. I love seeing him at parent drop-off in the morning to see what he's always styled.
And he dresses himself.
So, just thank you, Dr. Hall, for bringing them to everyone's attention. Good choice. Thank you.
So Miss Allen and Miss Stansfield.
He likes hearing his name called in parent makeup too. Oh, he can drink out of the water fountain.
Miss Shirley. Administrators don't get anything. And then the star, the superstar for today is our little guy, Todd. This is something for you that your teacher said that you would certainly enjoy. He's feeling it. It's in there.
So it's that Philly book, so that he can read it.
And the words are in braille.
Yes, it's in Braille. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you for sharing your little guy with us.
We're gonna get back to class.
Just want
They're
to thank
missing
Dr.
her.
Hall and Michael and Laura and all the team folks that deal every day with this. I've been following him since he's at the Wolves, and I know where he was a resident too. And I've been seeing down the lunchroom and breakfast time and different things. I just want to thank you for your work. Everyone else has got there. He's a challenge. Thank you.
Certainly teamwork at its best. Thank you all so much.
See you later.
See you later, Todd.
So real quick, then I'll turn it over.
How old is he?
He's awesome.
So real quick to bring closure to this piece of our disability awareness celebration. If you have a copy of the resolution, it does require our chairman, Brad Athridge, and Mr. Edison to sign, but all of you have a copy of it. I'll work through it really quickly. So the resolution states, whereas the first 2 weeks of October has been designated as Disability History and Awareness Week by the Florida State Legislature, whereas since 1975, students with disabilities have been educated in Levy County Public School System with the passing of Public Law 94-142 by Congress. Whereas the School Board of Levy County has over 800 teachers, administrators, paraeducators, contracted staff, and support staff committed to providing quality educational services to students with disabilities. Whereas exceptional student education offers students with disabilities experiences and opportunities that will enable individuals to obtain post-secondary education, enter the workforce, and contribute to their communities. Whereas School Board of Levy County has approximately 1,200 students with disabilities with special needs to receive a quality, and I really want to emphasize the quality piece. It's just not enough to do just enough to get by. It has to be quality and very meaningful for students and families. In the least restrictive environment, many times we refer to that as LRE. Whereas the School Board of Levy County supports the goal of disability history and awareness education and will continue to facilitate supportive environments for all students, better treatment of individuals with disabilities, and increased attention to preventing the bullying or harassment of students with disabilities. Therefore, be it resolved that the School Board of Levy County does hereby proclaim the first 2 weeks of October as Disability History and Awareness Weeks. Be it further resolved that the School Board of Levy County and the Superintendent of Schools reaffirms the local, state, and federal commitment to full inclusion and equal opportunity for all students with disabilities, passed and adopted on this day, the 22nd of October, 2019. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, on the agenda. Moving?
Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move adoption of the resolution.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the resolution as presented. During discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Okay, so briefly, we have 2 fine Department of Education discretionary projects. You see their names on the agenda multiple times, traveling to and from. The first person on the agenda is going to be our SECNET coordinator, Constance Ward. who's going to speak briefly about her role and responsibilities in this district and others. And then following Constance Ward, we'll have Teresa Pinder, who's our regional local assistant technology specialist. She has a little history. In approximately 2005 exactly, I hired Teresa Pinder, because I came in 2004, that's how I remember this. The year after I arrived, the Department of Ed come knocking on my door, and just a phone call and said, would you be willing to be the fiscal agent for one of our discretionary projects? Please know that the Department of Education has over 100 discretionary projects that has a focus, whether it be LRE, whether it be students with autism. There's an array, there's lots of help. It comes free of charge from the state to support our students and our families and our schools. And so 2 lands here in Levy County, one being the SETNet and one being the Regional Local Assistive Technology. So these ladies will talk about what they do. You can ask any questions of them. So Constance, you're up, you're next, and then Teresa will just follow, okay? Thank you.
And we don't have the same connections. So,
It is-
no, I have a slightly newer. Do you want to go first and then I'll put my presentation on a thumb drive?
So you want to use mine? That's fine. Okay,
So I'll
that's
put my
fine.
presentation on a thumb drive.
I have an old outdated one that still works for me, so I want you.
Oh, you have it?
Okay. Perfect, thank you.
The thing,
We'll just leave it here.
that might not be often.
Julie, better use it.
Where's the dog? About 5 of them things, where are they? Lost my dog.
All right, board members, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Constance Ward, and I have been with Levy County for 4 years. I come by way of being a senior VP and corporate executive of Wachovia Bank. And I want to thank Mr. Masters for giving me a shot at a second career and working as an educator in Levy County. SEDNet is one of our discretionary programs. I serve Alachua, Baker, Bradford, Gilchrist, Levy, and Union counties as a SEDNet coordinator. And Levy County is the fiscal agent. What does that mean? That means that you get about 6% of my money in order to run the finances of SEDNet. And Dr. Hall is my supervisor, is the supervising director, and does a great job of making sure that we serve Levy County and the other surrounding counties. So, come on, baby. Who is SEDNet? We're actually a management company, a multi-agency network for students with emotional and behavioral disabilities. So my focus are typically students that are in our focus program, our LLA program, and some of our classrooms. I work with the other agencies to create and facilitate a network of stakeholders. And this is a long-term grant. SEDNet has been in action since 1984. And we're, as Dr. Hall stated, are funded by the Department of Education. We have 19 regions across the state. We are Region 3B, which is that little sliver up top. And we enjoy driving back and forth up and down the highway to see all our people. Once or twice a year, all of the SEDNet managers get together and we discuss what we can do to benefit our students who have emotional and behavioral disabilities. Last year, we started working on the mental health and we trained almost every single person in Levy County. We're one of the few counties to do as many trainings and to get such a large percentage of our people trained. And my understanding is all you were also trained in youth mental health first aid, and I applaud you for that. It's a great program that Mr. Weber is now taking over. So, what is the financial benefit to Levy County for running SEDNet? Well, first of all, I am totally free to you, okay? SEDNet this year received $124,867. And what does that pay for? It pays my salary, taxes, insurance, travel, lodging, training, and conferences. It also facilitates us having Ethel, who is my secretary and helps with Dr. Hall, and she's just fantastic. SEDNet funds behavioral education for employees. This year we are using the Rethink program to train beginning behavior analysts, and then also I believe it's 6 of our teachers or guidance counselors will be taking the advanced behavioral analyst course, and that allows us to work better with the students that have emotional and behavioral disabilities. We have the BASE program. That is the program that we use for our grades 6 through 12. If a student is placed in ISS or the FOCUS program, or even in Bronson in Bama for the day, we put them on this program to try to teach them what their behavior is and how to modify it so that they are less of a problem in the classroom. They make it easier for the teacher to teach and engage all students. Rethink also works as an emotional and behavioral intervention for grades 1 through 5. And TeachTown works with children from PK to grade 5. It's used in our elementary schools. It was first looked at as primarily for children with autism, but we can use it for all of our children to teach them how to behave in a manner that improves the engagement in classrooms for teachers and students. And finally, not part of the SEDNet program, but part of my job is I support the PBS Model School program. And last year we had 2 model schools. That was 200% of what we had the year before, although multiplying by 0 doesn't really work that way. But we had JBES and Williston, both became model schools. So we did a great job, and we're really trying to create an environment where our schools can exceed where we are now and become an A district. So I think PBI is an important part of that. So how do we focus on these students? We are part of the DCF and the partnership staffing model. Matter of fact, that's probably where I should be right now. We talk about the students that are removed using DCF or have cases with DCF, and how can we facilitate a smooth transition for these kids and make sure that they're taken care of. We work with a local review team. Now this is a team that works with children that have been removed from the home and put in a facility such as Devereaux or some of the other facilities throughout the state to work on severe emotional and behavioral problems. We work, yes sir?
So if we've got somebody, do we have any kids that are on the waiting list for situations like that, inpatient facilities?
We do, we do.
So what do we do to accelerate that process?
Unfortunately, we're not in control of that process, and we have far too many students who need SIP placements, and that's just state funding. The state does not have enough beds for the children that need in care.
Okay. And so how do we make sure a student doesn't get skipped or fall down?
Constance monitors that process well.
I work.
She's an ongoing conversation with those entities.
I do. I work with Camelot Community, which works with a lot of the SIP programs. I work directly with DCF and Partnership. I spent about 5 years as a DCF investigator before I moved into education. And actually next week I will be going up to the special meeting because Senate Bill 7030 says we're supposed to share information, and we're not sharing information the way we need to. So I am gonna put on my not real nice hat and go up north and.
You're not, or other agencies?
Other
are not?
agencies are not helping us the way they should. We have threat assessment meetings, we have IEP meetings, and it's hard to properly assess the situation if we don't know how many times DCF has been to this household, how many times this child's been removed. So while I don't want to know the intricacies of every case, I do want to know when the cases happened, what the maltreatment was, and what the disposition was. And I think that can help us better serve our students and better serve our families as we go through threat assessments. So it's one of those things that I believe is paramount to Bill 7030.
Okay. Question, what's a normal, acceptable time frame? Team meets and says, this child needs placement in an in-care facility.
Our last experience, it took approximately 5 to 6 months before it rose to a level of a sense of urgency with one of our students here in Levy County.
Currently, we're giving parents the CAT team, which is an in-home program, although the CAT team is now at maximum capacity. We're using MRT, which is a mobile response team, to help the parents. Partnership is helping by putting in counselors. Meridian is helping. I know Mr. Lott has helped us by having internet supplied to the home so that they can be instructed at home. We're doing everything we can to both facilitate a smooth transition for the family and support our teachers, because so many of the times these are the students that have been removed from the classroom. So we're doing the best we can. However, the state needs more funding for mental health.
And I can tell you, Mr. Keller, I sense and feel and understand and agree with your frustration that there are times when our kids need to be served quicker, and I do agree that the need is greater than the capacity. I've spoken personally, directly to the state level, people from SEDNet, from DCF, and I can't remember who the other one, I think it was Meridian.
It was.
In the same room. And I think the level of communication is sharing of information is still a barrier.
It is.
And I know the funding is too. And so that is certainly something that, a drum that we need to keep beating.
I know, I need to probably have a call with you because there's some comments that I don't really want to make on the record, but
Yes, sir.
There's
I'd be more than
there's a
happy to talk to
dire
you.
situation that I am gravely worried about, that the home situation, that this could be one of those things that you eventually see on the news, and we don't want to be on the news.
My card is in that package, and you're more than welcome to call me. My cell phone is on that card, and you're more than welcome to call me anytime on my cell phone.
And I can tell you, what she says is true. And there is a great benefit to having a set, don't like to say she's served multiple counties. It's a great benefit having her here in-house in Levy County
Yes.
with the background that she's
Yes.
served. So,
Just knowing, I guess we're at about 6 weeks on the situation, and just knowing that you have a situation there, there's a lot of factors, so that,
And we have a child coming out of SIP placement right now. I know that I got advance warning of that. The parent has called me because I give my cell phone to everybody, so if you see it on a bathroom wall someplace, please erase it. But I had the parent call me directly, and Dr. Hall and Mr. Lott were discussing it, and hopefully when that SIP placement opens, we have a child that can go into that place. But understand that there's, how many, 67 counties that are all looking for these SIP placements. So, again, we do work with the community partners, offer input on the threat assessments. I monitor my students with EBD. I have 2 seniors this year. One I know will graduate. One is 21 years old, homeless. And we're doing the best we can to try to get them a program. We work to improve graduation rates, and we offer training for MTSS and behavioral interventions.
what's EBD?
Emotionally behaviorally disabled.
Thank
So who are we? We're an education, mental health, substance abuse, juvenile justice, child welfare, and family and youth organization. We work with every single one of these state organizations to bring everything together and help our kids graduate. Okay? Indicator 1, this is how SEDNet is viewed by the state. Indicator 1 is graduation, 2 is dropout, 4 is suspension and expulsion. That also includes every time we, I'm trying to think of the word, we restrain a child. Transition IPs, that's Mr. Quincy, and post-school outcomes, that's also Mr. Quincy. So when you look at your LEA profile, much of what special ed does and what SEDNet does is on that LEA profile. We have a new program director, that's Kelvin Pruitt. We have Jordan Knabb, he is our principal investigator, and then the SEDNet project team. You all have SEDNet information in front of you, and I hope you use it. If you have any problems, please give me a call. Once it's off duty time, if you text me, I will call you right back, when I live in a metal barn and I don't get phone calls in my house. So please just text me. Any questions?
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So what happens to the student if DCF is called and there isn't, like in South Lee, a foster area for that child to go to? Where does that child go?
Well, according to DCF and according to state guidelines, if a child is removed from a home and they go to a Levy County school, they are supposed to be transported to a Levy County school. If the foster home is in a reasonable proximity to Levy County, typically County B will transfer to the county line, and then we will send transport to transport the child to Levy County schools. There are times that we don't have available foster care in the immediate vicinity, and we've had children sent to Miami, to Palm Bay, to Pensacola. It all depends what homes are open. In that case, they go to those schools. But we do the best to keep the children at the school of record, and that's a state mandate. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't just pop it in, I'll come right back. It's gonna take a minute to recognize it.
Everyone, Dr. Hall and I talked, and one of the things you see a lot of times, is just, I think it's on this agenda, you're approving folks to go to ed services, and it's RLATs, you see RLATs on there, as he said that, so talk about making sure that brings some basis to educate you a little bit about the service. Because like these are like, both of these, we're participating from multiple levels.
You're the tech person.
Dr. Hall, I heard, she said our CAT team is maxed out.
It is at this time.
A couple of weeks ago, they had space for 2 more students. And remember, the CAT team, we share them with surrounding districts, more so the Tri-County.
Okay.
So this happened a year ago, and they hired more staff, which opened up more openings for our students, and that was beautiful. And now we're early in the school year, we're already capped out. So when that happens, I communicate with my person, my contact person with Meridian, to say, we have a new CEO coming into play at Meridian. And so this has been his priority to hire more staff. But again, there's more needs in the state than they have people who have the credentials to be hired.
Thank you.
I do not see my presentation, and it was there. I don't know if, let me turn this off and turn it back
All right, here we go.
I apologize for the delay, but this will be short and sweet. I'm Teresa Pender, I'm your regional local assistant technology specialist. I did not come up with that name, that was given to us by the state.
So I'm a discretionary project, as they said before. My background is as an occupational therapist. I've been doing this for about 30-something years. And there are actually 5 of us in the state. And as you can see by the colored map, I'm the green. We serve only small and rural districts. This project began in 2005 out of the needs identified by the Institute of Small and Rural Districts. Each of us are based in one of the districts that we serve. We're not based in a center. We're actually based in a district. And Levy County happens to be my fiscal agent. But as you can see from the map, I travel from coast to coast, and I travel from as far north as from Union County all the way down to Sumter County. So I'm in each one of these 8 districts about 2 to 3 times monthly. Except for Levy County, I'm usually here about 4 times during the month.
So you've got Sumter, Flagler,
Oh, look at that. Sumter, Flagler, Putnam, Union, Bradford, Levy, Dixie, and Copeland. Yes, yes. And what do I do? What do I provide? I provide direct services to students and their IEP teams. So we are very much laser focused. My data that I pass on to the state has to do directly with students. I provide consultation for those district and school administrators. And probably the biggest piece of my job is the collaboration, the mentoring, and the coaching with the classroom teachers, paraprofessionals, parents, and therapists. All around that IEP team for a particular student. I provide like tier 3 and some tier 2 supports to our classrooms for these students. I have a production lab to create materials. I brought some of those with me. Actually, right now, my lab is in about 130-something boxes since we had to move out of our building. I hope to soon have that back because that was a space I also did small group training for our therapists and for our teachers and parents. And I have an equipment loan library, mostly for communication systems trials. The little one that you saw earlier, I've actually been involved with him since the second day he arrived on campus. I'm in that classroom a couple of times during the month. I provide very specialized resources for that teacher, for that para. I help with the Beth, who is our visually impaired specialist. She and I team together for what he needs. And now that he's like being a student, we're going to move him one step forward and for his communication stuff. We are never finished, and I'm never satisfied. We have lots to do with our kiddos. So my scope of work is really as easy as A, B, C, and D. A, okay, is the academic accessibility and engagement for all students. So I'm looking at the accessibility and that academic engagement, whatever that takes, from pre-K to 21, and I have been out on job sites before, coaching and assisting, and again, doing some of those materials, specialized materials. So from pre-K to 21. The B is for behavior and those strategies for academic engagement and success. As you can see, there's other people that also deal with behavior, kind of like that first line of when somebody needs something made, specialized for students. I also do a lot of that one-on-one work with how do you use the tool now that you have it. The C is for communication, receptive, expressive communication, literacy, and peer interaction. We're doing and have been doing a program here in the rest of my districts called Environmental Communication Teaching, where we actually bring a team that we meet 4 times a year, focused around a student, and again, we talk about what those students need, and Taj is actually one of the focus kids this year. So, and then the D is the data, because if you don't have the data, it didn't happen. Is it working? And if it's not, what are the barriers? So I go back to those teams and we talk about, if this isn't working, what else can we try? What else is there? What's going to fit for you? And again, it's all about that student, bringing that team together around that student and figuring out what's going to work for the academic engagement, the behaviors, and the communication system. So really, in a nutshell, This is my ultimate goal and ultimate mine and the ultimate goal of the entire program, to build that capacity for our IEP teams to remove those barriers so that every student has the opportunity to engage and interact with their same age peers. And it's all about, and you guys know that this is your life work, it's all about preparing those students with the tools for self-determination and self-advocacy so they're ready for that post-secondary life. I tell people it's all about having options and opportunities. We're going to provide that, however that goes. And every student I engage with, every team I engage with, it's different. It looks different, and because every kid's unique, and every classroom is unique. Right. So I thank you for this opportunity. I've been part of your district for 14 years. First time I've ever gotten to come in front of the board and actually explain what I do, although I know my name is on that agenda every month. And you see why now. I travel from coast to coast. When I go over on the other side of the coast, I do my days back to back. So sometimes I'm over there for 2 or 3 days. Any questions?
So, Dr. Hall, is she federally funded? Is that federal?
Yes.
As a discretionary
Yes.
project.
Just like
The grant money
Constance,
comes, right.
the money comes to us
Yeah.
to pay for salaries and materials and travel, so there's no cost to us. So we get an amazing return on our investment.
Yes. And I did bring some of the materials that I have made in the lab in the past and continue to make. Right now, most of it gets made on my dining room table. I'm hoping soon that I have my lab back. And the program that we've started this year with our secondary kids is Readtopia. And this allows our kids in our separate classes to have the same novels, but on their reading level. It actually comes in 6 different levels. And again, this is something that I support in the classroom with the materials, and I also support the teachers, support them with the training. And the paraprofessionals. How do we, if you're in high school and your literacy level is in the 2nd grade, how do we move you one step forward? Paraprofessionals have a lot to do with that, and so I assist that in training those.
Where does it say what level?
Oh, on the back, flip it over. Down at the bottom. One I think I brought was a C, which is conventional level 5. And the other one, I think it is the emergent, maybe, is it an E or a T? But the emergent, transitional, and conventional. So the materials look like everybody else's, and it's also web-based. So there's an auditory book that goes with it, and then there's progress monitoring, there's all kinds of, that support literacy, the reading and the writing and the speaking piece of literacy.
We have seen your name on the agenda for many years, so I'm very happy for the presentation. Thank you.
It should really exist.
And I do really exist. I was just telling the bookkeeper, I've been on the road for 10 days, so this is the first time I'm back in Levy, so I have like this mountain of travel paperwork that I have to go get done. So, but I appreciate being part of this team. Dr. Hall is a wonderful supervisor, and I thank you. And I apologize for the rough start. Nothing ever goes smooth for me. But we managed to seem to get it done.
You can just minimize it, it's
Yeah.
gonna be used again. Thank you so much for this,
Yeah.
All right, so thank you for the presentation. Good to meet you. We'll move on to item G, which is on the learning education classroom. Ms. Cheryl Beecher in there patiently awaiting students on the front row.
They're doing a great job.
Great job.
Doing a great job. We wouldn't have come quite so early if we had known a little further down on the agenda, but we're extremely pleased to be here with you this morning and for the opportunity to get to kind of showcase what's going on in the alternative classrooms at Bronson Elementary. Now, as you guys know, last year was the first year that the alternative class for elementary was moved to the elementary school because Old Bronson High School was sold and closed down, and so Mr. Edison asked me if I'd take this class, and I said that I would. And, he had a little carrot today, but he mentioned something about a dean, and I jumped on that. And last year, I had a lot of notions about what this alternative classroom should be like, and I've been here before the board when students have come before you, and I've been with Dr. Hall, and we've had many conversations about what should and should not be happening in an alternative classroom, and I made a promise to the board, I believe, a little over a year ago, that certain things wouldn't happen anymore. They were at Bronson Elementary, so they're here. And so now I have to live up to my word of what I said. Well, we had it last year, and I went in with great plans and great hopes for that classroom, and it didn't quite work like I thought it would work. And if y'all have known me very long, and most of you have, you know that I don't like to admit defeat to anything. And so I started back at the drawing board again this past summer, and I had the opportunity to go to the leadership conference. And at the leadership conference, Miss Sherry Rollerson from Baker County had a presentation. I've known Sherry for a long time and think highly of her. She's the superintendent of Baker County. And they had an alternative classroom. It was middle school and high school. And she was presenting, and I told my other fellow colleagues that were there, principals, that I said, I'm going to this, I'm going to take one for the team, and I'm going to this middle high school and to see what's being presented, because surely there's something that we can glean out of this for elementary. And so I went, and she and the dean and the teacher and the aide and all presented there, and she talked about a lot of things that they had going on in Baker County, and she said that, started out by saying that it had not been successful in Baker County either, and it had really bothered her, and it kept her up at night, that that program had not been any more successful, and that they were not reaching students in that alternative classroom. And I thought, I know where you're at. It bothers me as well. But she shared things that they were doing, and I walked away with my mind just buzzing of all the things that I wanted to do differently this year in the alternative classroom. So that's what we've come to talk about this morning, and I thank you for the opportunity to get to do that. We serve the entire county in this program, and of course our goal is to get these young people back into their community schools. But before I say that they're ready to go back, I always want to try them out at Bronson Elementary in a regular classroom and see if that can be successful, because if it can be successful there, then it should be successful when they go back to their home schools. I want to tell you that I sure couldn't do this without the help of a great teacher. Miss Haley Kuhn is our teacher this year, and I interviewed Haley in the summer, and it comes to me. She has elementary ed certification, and she's also been an ag teacher. And I thought, with all the things that I've got in my mind for this class to do, an ag teacher would be perfect for that. And she has the assistant, Miss Stephanie Wolf, who's the aide in that classroom. And Miss Angelica Toole is a behavior specialist that's been working closely with us, and she's going to talk in just a few minutes. But these ladies have been pivotal to the success thus far that this classroom's been achieving. You know, my thoughts were, there's two sides to every coin. Students are sent to this program because of behaviors. But while they're there, you have the flip side of that coin is academics. We still have to teach something. At the same time, we're working on academics and social skills and emotional skills and issues. And so I wanted to concentrate on self-esteem and self-confidence. Let's find what these boys and girls can do well. We already know what they struggle with. Let's find what they do well, and let's capitalize on that. Let's encourage that, let's strengthen that, and then the academics will fall in place, hopefully, when we get the other things under control. So I'm going to let Ms. Haley show you some things that we've got planned and we've been doing at Bronson Elementary.
So Ms. Beecham just spoke to our goals a little bit. We're focused on developing self-confidence through some hands-on activities, which in turn create self-confidence in the academics. we're linking our activities to academics, as in like, we have a garden we just started, so kids are interested in it, the kids love it, so they're gonna be interested in reading about it. They're gonna be interested in working out the math when we sell our greens that we're planting. We're also encouraging positive behaviors in classroom and life. We do that through Class Dojo, we use that, which I'll talk a little bit about that. So we have our garden,
You might recognize some of the people in there. I have enlisted help in the gardening. Recognize the hat. We got Mr. Kelby Barber from the high school came over with the tractor. That's actually in the bottom of a retention pond behind our classroom. It never holds water, so we thought it was the perfect place. And of course, you're looking for space that doesn't have a water line, it doesn't have an electrical line, nothing in the ground so that you can plow it. It's fenced in, so other students couldn't get in it and bother it. So they came and plowed it, and then they laid off the rows. And my husband, Mickey, has been teaching them how to plant and put the fertilizer down. So when they planted greens last Friday, we had to wait till we got some rain because it has been so, we've got some good rain. So on last Friday, they planted greens and fertilized them, and they were already breaking the ground yesterday morning. So the kids were really excited. They planted some more yesterday, and he's coming this afternoon to do the very last of it. We planted turnip greens, we planted mustard greens. They've got some collard plants to set out today. They've got carrots and cabbage and broccoli and rutabagas. I think they've set down some plants. Our idea here is that we're going to grow this garden, and then we're going to harvest it, and we're going to sell it to finance other projects that we have going. And so we'll be making our rounds to the board meetings to sell you guys some greens when they're ready.
so we have worm beds as well. The rain this weekend kind of had them swimming a little bit, but they're recovering. So kind of same idea with this. The worms will of course reproduce, and we'll be able to sell them as like fishing worms, stuff like that. Kids love digging around finding them. We use scraps from lunch to feed the worms. So kind of using what we have, going from there with that. We wash cars on Fridays. Teachers can sign up. We take 2 to 3 cars every Friday. They sign up, pay us $10 to have their car washed, and return to them, and that money still goes back into projects that we have going on or anything for the kids that we need. We do yoga once a week.
A volunteer comes in on Thursdays from 11 to 12 and does yoga with our students. Strictly voluntary. She runs a yoga class here in Bronson. And so, as you can tell, we're just reaching out to anything that will encourage our students to be appropriate behaviorally, self-controlled, and then in turn to be able to focus on academics.
Some upcoming things we have, we're working with the shop class at Middle High School. They are cutting out cornhole board pieces for us. We'll be assembling those boards and hopefully selling those around Christmas time as another fundraiser to have some funds come back to our classroom. So the kids will also get to design their own boards, like a picture that they'll have on those. We'll also be doing a Thanksgiving feast.
And we have invitations to invite you to our Thanksgiving. Pass those out now.
So during the feast, our kids will be preparing a meal for you guys if you would like to join us on that day. We have some volunteers coming in to do like a mini cooking class with them beforehand, so that the day of they are able to prepare that meal for you guys. And
We have listed a lot of help. We have Miss Emily King and Miss Camille Thompson coming to do some cooking classes with them, and they're going to help us in preparing our Thanksgiving feast. We'd love to have you guys join us on that day. If you'll just send an email to Haley and let her know that you would be attending, so you'll know how much to prepare for. And I think if you guys would like to ask the students anything about their projects or what they like about it, I'm sure that they'll be happy to tell you. Maybe we have somebody, future FFA members here. There you go. Absolutely.
Tell us, what do you like best about the program and what you're doing in your class? Garden. Tell us. James, I sure like the way you raised your hand. That was so nice. What else?
It's fun and stuff.
What?
It's fun.
It's fun. Good.
Worm bed.
The worm beds. Tell me about the worm beds.
Well, we got some red wigglers that we we got some gardening soil from some people that actually gave us it. And Miss Willis gave it to us. And we just put it in some like little containers. Then we put the worms in.
So you're gonna be selling worms?
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
might
sir.
know of 3 gentlemen who are fishing aficionados who might need to get in touch with you. So
All right.
who's best for catching brim, bass fishing?
We're hoping that we can work out something with our local hardware store that we can supply the worms to them to sell. Or you like, buddy?
I like about the garden.
You like the garden? Yes.
What's your favorite thing about the garden, Trent? What do you like?
I like to see where we make the plants color.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They got to see the mustard seed, and they couldn't get over how tiny that mustard seed was.
We look forward to you bringing the what you produce to the board. We'd love
I
to
know
see
a restaurant,
that.
they can use a lot of greens.
That's right.
All right.
Local
Yes,
greens.
that's right.
Well, we're excited about what's going on there, and these guys are doing a great job. And I can't say enough about the teacher and the aide in that classroom and what they're doing. So I have to believe in my heart that if we work on self-confidence and self-esteem, that the rest of it will fall into place. So we're off to a great start, and I'm really proud of these guys. Thank you for letting us come.
Thank you.
Miss Angelica Toole, our behavior specialist, is going to talk to you about the structured teach program that we are using and utilizing in this program.
Good afternoon, board members, superintendent, secretary, board attorney. My name is Angelica Toole. I'm one of the behavior specialists for the district, and I'm part of Dr. Hall's amazing team at ESE. Just a little bit about myself. I have a master's in special education. I've been a behavior specialist. This is my 3rd year, and I'm currently working towards my BCBA through Florida Institute of Technology. So I have a lot of background in applied behavior analysis. The Structured Teach program was actually something that Dr. Hall had started sending people from Levy County to other counties to train in about 4 years ago, I believe?
4 years ago.
Okay. The Structured Teach is a research-based behavior classroom structure that originally was used for children who have autism and also students that are EBD. And the components of Structured Teach include classroom centers, regularly scheduled positive reinforcement, built-in leisure time, and you can either do daily or weekly or periodically, as in every 15 minutes, every 20 minutes, positive reinforcement for positive behavior. So what that looks like in the alternative learning classroom over at Bronson Elementary School is they have about 4 or 5 centers. So one center is a computer center, one center is a teacher center, one center is a para center, one center is a leisure center. And they rotate between 15 to 30 minutes. And they use Class Dojo as a way to track students' behavior in the classroom. So every time the students will rotate, they will check in with the teacher or the para and say, here are the expectations for the classroom. Have I been following these expectations? Yes, you get your point. No? All right, you're not going to get your point. You're not going to lose anything, you're just not going to earn anything. And then you have an option for the next rotation to earn your points. Their rewards are based off of those points, so they can do, I think, you have daily, right, rewards for them. At the end of the day, they can earn time for computer time or games or whatever the student. Right, so it's,
Fridays, you have a second round.
We
Yes.
have like a Friday Days party
There you
or
go.
something to
So it's just a reward that they can earn and something that they can work for. And it also gives them a chance to check in with the teachers, which is really important because I feel like in a lot of classrooms, students don't really get their voices heard, or they feel like they don't get their voices heard. So this way, they actually get a chance to talk to the teachers and check in with them. You know, how are you doing? How you feeling? You feeling good? All right, cool, let's go to the next thing. They also use a lot of visuals. So students that maybe have difficulty within the general education curriculum, something you'll find with them is that visuals are very, very good strategies to use. It makes sure that they know what's coming up, they know what is expected of them, they know what the consequences and the rewards are for doing what they're supposed to be doing or not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So they have a visual schedule in their classroom, so when they walk in the morning, they can see, okay, this is what we're doing. They have visual reminders of the behavior expectations at every center, so they know every time they go to the center, the expectations are continually reinforced with the student. And then visual timers, just so they know exactly how much time that they have. And that's basically a very quick overview of Structured Teach, so hopefully that gives you a good idea of what the classroom looks like over at Bronson Elementary.
She is doing a fabulous job of helping me implement this. I was a little leery of it at first, but once I got it going, it really makes a difference in the behaviors in the classroom. You know, the kids are constantly moving on to something new, so they can stay with it and they can stay focused rather than, 45 minutes into a lesson, they're clocked out.
Yeah.
So it keeps them moving, it keeps them engaged, and it's really made a difference. So I'm very thankful for everything that she has done helping me out with this.
And I do want to say, I actually did look at their behavior data. They use Classroom Dojo to do that. And before we had implemented the Classroom Structured Teach, the Structured Teach classroom model, they were averaging around 77% as far as overall positive behavior. Our last week that I had, somewhere like 94%. So there's a really big increase in overall positive behavior that you're seeing in the classroom. I just wanted to, if I could, make a comment as a principal that has students go, I have a kid here. It's really great to see many of you know that this is my passion, and the hardest thing I have that happens is when I have to call Ms. Beecham or Dr. Hall up and say, it feels like we weren't able to do our job, but sometimes some kids just need a little bit more, and they're able to get that in this classroom, and it's huge, and I know I feel very good in that, because their data comes back to us. I mean, they're our students, and so I feel very confident that they're well taken care of, and when Ms. Beecham calls me in return and says, Ms. Hummon, I think somebody's ready to come back to you, I know she needs it, and I know they're ready. We have, success stories, and we have others that are not, but these kids do need that extra, and it makes a difference. And if we help them now, we can prevent a lot of things in the future as they become middle and high schoolers. There's not just academic gaps like Ms. Beecham said, but there's other things that are so critical at this age for them, can really help some preventative things in the future. So I think it's great what they're doing. I really appreciate it. And we need to support classes, these kind of classes, as much as we can, because they'll help the whole. These guys are going to do it.
Is this your whole class?
I have, there's one other today that just wasn't ready to come.
We thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're going to take a 10-minute recess while Ms. Julie gets ready for her presentation. We'll call the meeting back to order. Been waiting all day. Julie is presenting us the food service breakfast program.
Thank you very much, board members. I'm glad to be here. Thank you. Mr. Delaney. Today I'm here to present the school breakfast program and what the changes and difference that has come about this year. Over the last 2 years, we've actually been a grab-and-go breakfast program, which is what this is going to speak of today. I'm here to remind everybody that this is, although under my guidance, I am directed by the Dietary Guidelines for Americans by the USDA and under the Healthy Hungry Free Kids Act of 2010. With those two programs, the guidelines and requirements are making sure that we have children focus on making better choices by limiting added sugars, reducing sodium, and cutting back on saturated and trans fats. Also, our program, which does now offer more fruits and vegetables, we're offering more fresh fruits and vegetables, less canned. We serve whole grain products, reducing sodium levels, limiting unhealthy fats, and then of course meeting the calorie limits. What we're dealing with today is the breakfast, and the calorie limit for breakfast, K through 5, is 350 to 500 calories. Not a lot. 400 to 550 for your 6 through 8, and then 450 to 600 for your 9 through 12. When we put out the breakfast products, which I have displayed up here, if somebody didn't snag them, since I was watching, because people were eating them.
These are neat, I've never seen these.
Okay, so, mini waffles. So these are all the products that we offer actually on this morning today. The students are to select 3 of the ones that are up here, a maximum of 4. So they must have 3. They can't go through the doors, out of the kitchen, until they've selected 3, and a maximum of 4. The requirement is that it has to have a fruit or juice, which is either at the front of the line or back of the line, and that would be here. Today, the choice was either a juice or fresh sliced apples. I'm going to cover today talking about how the program's working with the grab-and-go breakfast, how it's reduced preparation time, we have less waste, we have more options, the students approve of the products that we serve, the reduced cost and supplies, versatility, and how versatile the program is, safety, and sharing. So covering reduced preparation time. By serving these products, and I was going to get a nice big picture of something from Cracker Barrel. Because when you go to Cracker Barrel for breakfast, you're getting eggs, meat, potatoes, the hash brown casserole, the apples, grits, the biscuits they put on the table when you get there. What else am I missing? It's like this huge meal of over 2,000 calories that we have in our head as parents and children have, that this is what breakfast is. Breakfast is actually, when you think back, way back, somebody put the word together, but it was break, and then there was a space, and then fast. So you're actually breaking the fast of not eating for the 8 to 10 hours of sleep that we get a night. I don't know who gets 8 to 10, but
Yeah, who does that?
that's what they recommend. So that 8 to 10 hours where we're not eating is waking up and actually breaking that fast. So with reduced preparation time, these items do not have to be cooked. So there is no more. We have evolved from eggs, bacon, sausage. That's grits, all that kind of stuff out the window with kids. We're in a fast-paced world. They want things they can pick up, they can eat right away. They don't want to have to wait. And also waiting for the food. If it's hot, they got to wait for it to cool down. It's just go, go, go for them, whether it's at home or at school. These products can be actually taken out. They come all packaged. They can be taken out the day before and ready for the next day when these people arrive, when my staff arrives. One of the biggest things was if you have staff call out the following day because of an emergency or something, you're not saying, oh my God, I have one person in the kitchen and I got to get all this food ready. This actually helps them. It's prepped the day before. They just put it out that morning, and if somebody calls out, it's not a big deal. We just can have time for that person to come in. One person, or not one person, but 1 or 2 people can actually serve this to the students. It also helps with securing staffing hours. Instead of having to cut back on hours, I'm actually able to take people that used to come in the morning, and now they can come in later in the morning to start prepping the options for lunch, which is the fresh salads, our parfaits. So they can actually, their time can be put to other uses to secure better food in the lunch program. Also less waste, because when you cook food, say you cook eggs, bacon, grits, that food is not really reheatable. It's kind of something you just have to throw away. So without having, and you never know how many kids are going to show up, how many kids are going to eat breakfast. So we don't have to throw that food away by prepping that food, putting it out there and finding out kids don't eat it. Now we don't have all the food that we're throwing in the garbage because they didn't show up. And again, these students actually like they have here and they are eating it.
Ms. Julia, do we still have, or do we have some schools where they eat in the classroom?
We do. I'm going to speak of that right here. Yes, sir. So also with this, when you go back to our days, when it was just eggs and grits that were introduced, there's so many intolerances. The options for having this many options helps with those that may have gluten intolerances, may have lactose intolerances. There's so many different options here for them to choose if they have a preference that maybe they're on a protein diet. And yes, there are kids that, because it's a doctor's recommendation, they may just be grains and they don't eat proteins. They may be vegan, they may be a vegetarian, they may have religious preferences. By having all of this food out here, I don't have to ask them. They don't have to tell me. It's their privilege to hold that within them, and they don't have to share that with us. They can actually know what they're going to come in and choose, and I don't have to, in front of their friends or in front of my staff, say, hey, I can't have this, or hey, I don't like this. They can actually choose this without sharing those opinions or preferences or allergies or doctors. They don't have to share that the doctor said this. So yes, as Mr. Cowart just brought up, so there's versatility in having the grab and go program. So traditionally, we all had the kids go to the lunchroom, they all sat down, they ate. 2 years ago, we started this with the high schools to where they could come and get their food in the lunchroom, and then we gradually went out, we put it on carts, and we take it out to the courtyards, under pavilions. We have it in the hallway, we take it to the gym, and then yes, we were taking to the classroom. We are no longer taking it to the classroom, we actually set it up in the hallways, and the children are able to come and take their food and go back to their classrooms to eat. So when we had it to where they were eating in the classroom, they could actually you can order these are pre-packaged meals with notables, and we could get these and put them in the classroom, so when the kids actually arrive to the classroom, in their classroom, they grab these, they sit down at their desk, and they start eating. We found that we could actually package these cheaper ourselves, and actually follow and watch if they had dietary needs, because if a child could not have grains or was gluten intolerant, this would not be a good choice for him. So we started packaging it ourselves. Well, then we found, why are we doing that? Why not give the child a choice of what they want, instead of sticking this in the classroom and telling them this is what you're going to eat for breakfast. So we now have carts in the hallway that have all these options, and then they get to pick what they want and walk to their classroom and actually eat it. So there again, we're watching all the options and giving them the choices that they're able to make. These are still available. These are great when they have field trips. Or again, we package what we have and send them out on field trips in the morning, so they have that available. Choices aren't really that great when you go on a field trip. It's this, and we've got to move on. Williston is great at the high school. They have a section of kids that go to the gym. They have a section of kids that go to the cafeteria. And at one time last year, we had different things. The year before, we had different things. The first year they opened. And we cannot do that by USDA regulations. We're not allowed to serve different things at different locations. Your child cannot go to either one. So in other words, Williston High School has middle school go to the gym, and they have their high school students go to the cafeteria. Because they're not allowed to go to each one, the same thing has to be offered in each location. You cannot have different things in each location. If they were able to mingle and mix, like at Bronson High School, they can pick which line they want to go to. They can go outside, they can go inside. We can mix anything. It doesn't have to be the same because they all get the same options. Understood? So then going over to, I've already done that, so I don't need to do that. Hold on. So yes, I did. These are not ours, these are breakfast carts from around the country. Similar to what we do is breakfast carts where we take them to the students. Students nowadays don't want to come to us. They want to come to school, they want to hang with their friends, They would rather us bring the food to them. We haven't started it, but many counties, actually districts, have where kids call the cafeteria and order their food. We're not going there yet, please. So it's pre-ordered and ready for them to pick up when if they want to
I
come in.
remember a few years ago, there was a cart that was brought to the board.
Yes.
So,
Yes, and that's exactly, it was actually at Bronson Middle High, it was the big breakthrough when we actually got the equipment through a grant with Ms. Becky Tyson when she was here. We still have those units are still in use, and those are are going out around to the schools. And they're going to the children and making sure that we get to them, not making them come to us. So these were some of the ideas, and if you look, the top left one, this was one district, you notice that what their choices are is they can get milk, a cinnamon roll, which I know Big Granddaddy brought that for you all today. Cinnamon roll, and then you have the fruit. Those are their options. So there's not really any options. They walk up, they stick the 3 things, and that's their meal for the day, and they're done. Same thing on the right top. You'll see the kids are coming through, and right here. So they have some options here, and you can see they're picking them up. And then they're going to either walk through the hallway, I don't know where they may be going to their classroom, I'm not sure. But again, it's a very small option cart for them to pick it up and walk away. Down here at the bottom, it's the same thing, to where you have the kids, they have the 3 things right here, they go through and pick up the 3 options, and again, they're either going to their classroom or they're gonna, some schools have them sit in the hallway while they're waiting for their teachers to arrive. And then the same thing here with the high school. It looks like high school kind of limited as to what they can get. Yes, I did pick the worst pictures to make us look good. I'm not going to lie. So here is, and I wish Ms. Brookins I could have got a picture, and I had it, and I can't find it now, and I wanted to put it in here, of the cart that you were speaking to. Because they look really awesome. The high school's doing a really good job with them. But this is this is Bronson Elementary, here on this side. So this is their line. They actually have food. This cart here is about 3 feet long. This one's 5, this one's 5, and there's another 5 underneath this picture. There's another 5. So there's approximately 20 feet of food that these students can walk in and get, which is all this food here. And it's all laid out so they can come through and pick up the options that they want. When I say options, and I only had 2 flavored milk at the school I was at this morning, but there's actually, they can choose from 4 different flavors of milk. They have 3 different kinds of cheese they can pick up. We have sunflower kernels. We actually have yogurt on Sundays. There's 3 different kinds of muffins. The peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, we have the waffles, cinnamon, we have pancakes, mini little pancakes. These are a big thing this year that the kids like. There's 3 kinds of Chex Mix that they can pick up. There's chocolate strawberry and there's a cheddar cheese. When the menu says Pop-Tart, they actually can choose from blueberry, fudge, strawberry, or cinnamon. So there's all options there. And then as I discussed, we already have the 3 that they must have. That's a must have. The rest of it is optional. Here is the menu to which I was just referring. So on the menu, there it is. Okay. So on the menu you have your grab and go breakfast. And these are all the things that are up here that I just listed. So when it says, first, that would have been there. So if they wanted a Pop-Tart at home, parents can actually scroll over the Pop-Tart, and it should go, there it goes. It gives them the ingredients of the Pop-Tart, so they can decide with their children the night before as to, it's going to be stubborn, let's go to the Cinnamon Toast Crunch Bar. So it has the ingredients, so if there are things in there that they think their child can or cannot have, this is a great way for them to go over it, to make sure that that child has or doesn't eat something that they would be allergic to. We currently have on file over 60 allergens that our staff has to watch. In this particular program here, you're going to see that it only lists so it will only list 10 of the allergens. These are the most popular. But let's say your child is allergic to milk. You would sit with your child, and when you push milk, it'll actually tell you all the products that we serve that have milk in them, so your child can avoid eating those products.
And so where do the parents go to look at this?
This would be on MealViewer. The website is posted on our front page of the School Board of Levy County. It's also on the food service page. So let's say it's not milk, we can take milk off. Okay, that's not responsible, sorry with the internet here. I took the milk away, there we go. And let's say they have a gluten allergy or wheat, let's go with wheat first. Then these were the products that they couldn't have. So if they were on a low carb diet, they would not pick any of those items in red. They would pick cheese sticks and a yogurt, or cheese sticks and sunflower. They could actually have the 2 proteins and then pick a fresh fruit or juice to go with that. So if they did have a gluten allergy, or wheat allergy, there's still options for them to have at breakfast. If they had a gluten allergy, they would not choose those 2 items. Some of the products I am still working on getting into the system. And
Cheese would be the only protein they had available for them.
no, they would have cheese. There's 2 protein products, sunflower kernels. Sunflower kernels are considered a protein. And then on other mornings, over here, you would have the yogurt.
That was a Mr. Philpott look.
That's at the top next to meat.
There's not a meat item.
No. It would be a protein, not an actual meat. If they had a peanut allergy, you can put that in. As you can see, none of them on here. Then you will see up on the table that we have, it wasn't stolen yet. There is a peanut butter and jelly. If I went over to the lunch menu for the high school does have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches available to them for their breakfast. They are the most popular. That's why I kind of take it away from camera on this side.
I ain't mine, I'm good. I'm good for the day.
All right, so do we understand the program with allergens? And also, let me see my one thing I did right here. So if you went to like Beargrams and you went over it, okay, so description actually tells the parent, or actually this is great for nursing staff, it's produced in a no nut or no peanut factory. So that is important. If they have a peanut allergy, we need to watch those. Those are very good.
So only natural product on the street.
Go ahead.
So I have a first grader that comes in, mom and said don't have that, and they pick it anyway. How does the person that they're getting it from know? Are you clicking in the mornings, or are you putting in their code so any allergies would come up?
That is a great question. So in the morning, we are not using the system.
Okay.
That is where we're going, trying to get the system up and get the students through. The students have to move so much faster in the morning. Basically, they have 10 to 15 minutes to get in and get their breakfast, sit down, eat, and get back
Yeah,
out.
they got there on time.
Right, ma'am, if they're the first in line, and that's why we have all these products spread out and on campuses everywhere so we can get them. Right now, we are just counting them basically with a clicker.
But they're not putting their code in, those allergens are not
Correct.
coming out to see on the screen.
Correct. So with the allergens, if we were putting them in the system, which we do at lunchtime, so they're putting we're progressing. Everybody has a PIN number. We put that PIN number into the system. If they have an allergen on file, which the nurse does put all these allergens, like I said, we have over 60. The nurse does put those allergens into the system. When they put their PIN number in, it will actually come up on the screen and say, alert, really big. It says, alert, this child has such and such an allergy. And that way we know to look at the tray to make sure that they have not chosen an item that has whatever their allergen is in it. It will also tell us, let's say they pick up peanut butter, it'll tell us whether that allergy is just something that's minor or it'll say EpiPen next to it, so we know that it's so severe that if they eat anything with a peanut, that they could have a reaction, so we need to make sure that we're watching that tray and notifying anybody if they pick that up, the nursing staff. So that's a great question. So what we're doing is the staff is learning by doing it in the afternoons and seeing those alerts is basically putting it in their head. They do have a paper that they have, so they know to watch those kids also. But yes, the system would definitely work to the full advantage as if we were doing it breakfast and lunch.
And is that our goal, is that they're all
That
going
is
to
the
put it in
goal.
their code once we're,
That is the goal. And high school is pretty much on that.
I was just thinking more of the little guys. You know,
Correct. So the
I
little
want to eat
guys-
that peanut butter brownie, but Mama told me no, but you know what, I bet I could get away with it.
The little guys, it's a struggle right at the beginning of the year to get pre-K. Pre-K, actually, it really is pre-K, learning their PIN number. They are awesome, they can do it, they will do it, they just need practice. So pre-K, first grade, second grade, if they all learn their PIN numbers, they all have a 4 or 5 digit PIN number that they're assigned. Just like you at the bank, you come through, you put your number in, and it brings up your account. It does the same thing for them.
Throughout school, we have the same PIN number the whole time?
Yes, from pre-K to 12th grade. If you leave the district and come back, it just kind of goes dormant. When you come back, you get your number back.
So where is that, does that come within our county or is that,
That is actually within our Skyward program.
so federal government can take a person in kindergarten, 12th grade, tell them what they ate?
Yeah. We can actually look up on Skyward, and actually with our system, parents from home, when the kid puts in, when a kid puts his PIN number in, and we put that it buys chips or a lunch or a breakfast or whatever, the parent from home can actually view what that is and know what the child eats. So if they gave them extra money, like, yes, like Mr. Asbell, if he gave his students, his kids extra money, he could actually monitor what they're using that money for and how they're using it.
So in order to do that in the mornings, you'll need a laptop with air card, what will you need?
That is correct. We would need a laptop. The biggest hindrance we have right now is not having internet. The Wi-Fi at schools is so limited, and that's what really hurts us. We've tried it, we actually have a few laptops that we did try to use, but we could not get the Wi-Fi. And once again, the optimal thing is speed. The kids have got to know their PIN numbers, like they're going through, like you would at a bank, you're just putting your number in and moving on. There's no, oh, I forgot it, it's gotta move, it's like I said, you're doing 15 minutes, get in, get out. And then finishing up here, reduced costs and supplies. We serve, just this year alone and last year, an average of 2,300 breakfasts daily. If you were to take that 2,300, and this is just throwing it out there, that this program was 100% successful, at 2,300, the cost of trays at 3 cents, we would actually save $81.60 a day, which doesn't seem like a lot. But you put it over this whole school year, and we would average about over $14,000 in savings. Not having to purchase the trays because of the items being these that they would just pick up and walk off and eat on all the photos that were there. And the last one there, the 414,000 would be the trays that we would actually not put in the landfill. And then student approval, I already mentioned because the kids have what they want up here. And then we go to the safety. By putting them in these, I'm actually serving these containers except for cheese and milk. As you can see, these here, they've already been packaged, I don't know how long ago. The packages that the kids handed out to you earlier, they are all self-sustainable, so they can actually sit at your desk for another week, 2 weeks, whatever you want to keep them at. There's nothing in there that could go bad. So that's the other reason that we have these. So kids can actually take them to their classroom. If they stick them in their desk and they forget about them, we're not having them eat a sour cheese stick or yogurt that has curdled. So it's a safety issue, so we want to make sure that the kids have things that they can eat. If they have breakfast in the classroom, a lot of the teachers will actually store their stuff at the end of class, at the end of breakfast, so they can eat it for a snack later. So that actually saves the teachers money and the parents money in having to provide things for them. And then we go to our share cart, and these are the share carts. these can be a little disturbing because of all the food that is in them. When we say share, it would be because they are forced to take a fruit or juice, that is the requirement, they must take those. So seeing fruit or juice in there, because they really got kids that like fruit or juice, I can see that in the share table. We have a lot of kids that overtake, and then it goes to the share table. So the good part about it is, yes, the share table is there. It gets dispersed to other classrooms within the school site for maybe a mid-morning snack for ESE. A lot of their classes actually take, their teachers will come in and take that, so at 10 o'clock they have something aside those kids because they don't eat again until 12, so it's always a long time. It goes to the health room, some of it goes to the health room, so if you have a student that has the tummy ache because they missed breakfast, they would actually be able to be supplied with something. It provides at breakfast time, these will actually go in their cooler, then they go back out at lunchtime, so the kids can have extra. So if they want an extra milk with their food, they can have it. And then we also, when I brought up last time I was here talking about the after-school snack program, we only get the 2 items for the snack program. We can actually take items out of here and give it to, like we talked about the football team and other things. So we'll be taking a lot of this product and providing the after-school snack program, more food at no charge. But I would prefer not to see anything in here because this is cost. When you look at that and count that milk up, each one of those milks is 25 cents. So come flu season, which is right around the corner, I will get an alert from the health department and they will tell me that we are not to have any more share tables because of contagious germs. So literally every day at every school, this would be thrown away. It can't be shared, it can't be. So we really want kids to limit what they take. Basically just take what they want to eat. If they eat with their eyes, and elementary honestly takes the most food. They like to take their trays, and if there's 5 spots in that tray, they will put something in each one of those. They have 5 items, and they go sit down and they eat 2, and the rest goes into the share cart. Are there any questions, things I didn't cover?
And there are kids that you got your, if they want to trade with it?
Yes.
They don't want to trade?
Trays are still available, that's why the cost analysis there was increased for, but they are available. And then the only thing I'm going to plug right here is to make sure that you all got an invitation for the Friday, to make sure that on Thursday you visit your local school, because we will be having our annual Thanksgiving meal, which is no holds barred, and our cooks and staff.
Just not, we're not watching galleries.
That's the 21st.
That is on Thursday, 21st.
These girls.
Yes,
Good.
so our staff will be going back into the task, and they will be making yeast rolls, the old-fashioned yeast rolls, and whatever else they want to come up with.
Then you don't have to put turkey on the dressing.
Please make sure that it's separate. You will have your choice of however you want to put your, just like the kids have a choice, you will have a choice.
Can I bring my special plate? That we just.
Oh, gosh. Y'all don't want to know about that special plate.
That's why you're not bringing
it into the school cafeteria.
It's an awesome special plate.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
These are up here, tape. Hey, share. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sure they have a sausage or something. I guess so.
The sausage, actually, we have sausage every Friday. We do breakfast for lunch. So that way, if it's the meal that wasn't here, you can serve that lunch.
So that was only unprocessed food, now the rest of it's processed food.
That would be correct. At breakfast.
Unless they get a tray.
No tray.
Oh, no tray breakfast.
They have to come together.
Even if they get a tray, they have to pick these items. They don't get different items. You need this caramel out.
Thank you, Mr. Wood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Watts actually going to follow these rules and stuff.
And you're- So you're like sitting ready.
We're gonna transition quickly. You're gonna let her set up while I do 5. That's
that's all right.
I think that's the order. That's some time.
All right, so we have before you our 5-year work plan. As you know, that's a statutory requirement for us to create one. We were in position to make the deadline, but DOE changed the format. In fact, our educational facilities consultant, Mr. Dean Cantor, is the one who completed this, and he had already started the process, and then they changed the format. I think they went more from an Excel-based format to a totally web-based format, and he actually lost the work that he had done and had to go back and replace it. So DOE kind of gave us a little bit of a pass on meeting the deadline because it was their fault and not our fault. And really on the first page, this is probably the most important part of the plan is the difference in the remaining funds for those years. And you see that those are all zeroed out. So basically, it's feasible and it's balanced. And Mr. Stockman can assure you that, whatever revenues we do have in these capital outlay plans, he has no problem spending those. So he kind of ensures that that ends up being zeroed out. And we'd like to have more, but we have what we have. So by this plan, we've met our objective, which is the balanced plan. And I did have a couple questions that had been given to me. If you look on the second page, and several times in here, you'll see Williston Senior High Old. And just to let you know why that is in there. We sold part of the old Williston High campus, but not all of it. So we still have some facilities that are listed as the old Williston High. That'd be the Ag Shop, which is now been transformed into a football locker room. You've got your football field, of course, your concession stands. You've got JRTC classrooms still over on that side that are technically part of the Williston High School. And there's also a business lab. Some of you may know it as the laser lab. And then also further back here, I don't know, I think page 9, you'll see Williston Senior High Old, and you'll see 135 student stations that are there. And those 135 student stations do represent the student stations that were in those classrooms that I just described. And I got an email from Mr. Tanner asking just to make sure I was on the right track, and that he said I was. Those are the student stations, and we cannot remove them until we totally dispose of that property. So he said, if we do, then we would be able to remove those stations. So what we're asking for you is to approve this 5-year work plan if you don't have any further questions or concerns.
Any questions of Mr. Watt? Not a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Moved and second, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Watt. Mr. Buckles.
Almost good afternoon, but we'll go, I promise you, I can do this quickly. Carl Perkins, you have a handout in your booklet. It's got a lot more details than what we'll go over, but you do have a handout there. So the Carl D. Perkins federal grant is one that is usually a 5-year grant. But because it's federal and things move a whole lot slower on the federal side, this Perkins 4 actually lasted way more than 5 years. I stand here seeing Brad, it makes me think of when I came on board, we had just gotten Perkins 4. I wrote that grant with Sylvia's help and with some help from some friends in Citrus County, but Mr. Frank reminded me that he did a lot of letter writing campaigning because there was some jeopardy, I guess, with Perkins 4. Not so with 5. So we are in what was called a transition year. Perkins was reauthorized in 2018, so we are in a transition year. There are a lot of things that are the same about Perkins, and there are some things that are different that make me nervous. So I wanted to just kind of go over that with you, and I'll keep you abreast as we go through this year. Some of you will be engaged. So with any federal project, you know there's monitoring. and evaluation, and I've shared this kind of data with you before. So under the old Perkins, these were the performance measures, or the program quality indicators, as they're called now, that we were used to be evaluated on. They're listed in your handout that you have. So we don't need to go over these again, but I just wanted to show you that was the old. And we also have the current programs that are available in Lincoln County. So we have the programs listed that are high school programs, not middle school. Middle school technically offers courses, not programs. All right, so a program has a bunch of courses in it. So these are the courses that we offer, the articulation agreements, and the industry certifications that we're currently offering. So I tell you that because this is a big piece that comes into play when we look at Perkins 5 and what's going to come next. Okay? So what happens this year? Yes.
Have those previous two slides? I don't have that.
No, I can send this to you if you need it later. That's really old information for these board members, and other than the evaluation data, this is also on our CTE website. So what happens this year? Well, first of all, this year is a transition year. We did get Perkins 5, we got the grant, and we had to write things in the grant based on what we think will be happening as we address all of these subgroups, but we know it's a transition year. It's a transition year for the state. So there are a lot of state committees that are meeting to make decisions about what Florida's Perkins grant will be based on the new federal legislation. And I actually serve on one of those state committees. I was hoping Mr. Etheridge would get to serve on one of those committees. I worked to try to get you nominated to one of them, but I was not successful, I'm sorry. Well, Belinda said she would get you there, but there's been some transition. You know, we have a new chancellor, or we have an interim chancellor. So there are state committees to develop all the components. This is the new stuff that I want to talk about. There's something called a critical local needs assessment. And so by statute, we're required to have a needs assessment on the state level based on what state workforce data indicates. We're required to have a regional needs assessment, and that regional group's meeting on November 6th for the first time. And then we're required to have a local needs assessment group, and we are having our first planning meeting actually tomorrow with one individual to start with. I'll come to the board later with some names of employees that will be getting additional hours to work on this. And this group will work with our schools to identify all those stakeholders that you have listed in your agenda here, or this sheet. So we have required stakeholders that have to be on this needs assessment team to evaluate our programs, and we have to look at all of our data. Now, used to we would look at data like I showed you based on enrollment. Is that my bell?
No, that's mine. Your time's up.
Well, don't call me later. I know. So the data now will be a little bit different, but we have current data, which is lagging data, and we're going to begin now collecting new data. And we're working diligently. We need that when we have our third meeting on the 12th, I think, of November, to work with their staff to create the reports we need out of Skyward. Because we now have to pull all of our data by a multitude of subgroups. And you can see also those subgroups. Now, for the audience that doesn't have this, the subgroups are some that we have traditionally had, individuals in minority, racial, and ethnic groups, individuals with disability, individuals from economically disadvantaged, individuals preparing for non-traditional fields, single parents, including single pregnant women, out of workforce individuals, which really doesn't qualify on the high school level, but definitely on the post-secondary. English learners will be a new subgroup for us to collect data on for this program. Homeless individuals, migrants, youth who are in or have aged out of the foster care system, and youth with parents who are members of the armed forces. So we will be collecting data and be evaluated on data about all of those subgroups now. Okay, that's new for us. Not new in the title world, with ESSA, but it's definitely new for us in looking at programs. So these are the steps we've taken so far. And I will tell you that determining what those program quality indicators are so that we can evaluate whether a program is successful for all of those subgroups is the area that will be very different for us, probably challenging to start with. And I know I'm not alone because in sitting with these meetings, we've had a lot of really difficult discussions about program quality indicators. You know, Levy County is a little bit different from Brevard County, which is different from Palm Beach County, which is different from Okaloosa County. And so when you look at the performance evaluators, yes, we're still looking at technical skill attainment. Is a student earning an industry certification? But the question is, what is considered a proficient passing rate for students taking those industry certifications? And so, you know, you've got all those questions that are being debated. And everything that we will be doing now, think about that list of programs. Do those programs meet the demand occupation list for the state of Florida? Or for our region, which is Region 10? And do these programs move students into a job that is in a medium to high income range? Now, Mr. Asco, what is medium to high income to you?
Better than average. You know, if our average income is $26,000, I would say that should be that and above, wouldn't you say?
You know, I think it just depends. You know, it depends
very
who it is. So I'm on that committee, and I'm speaking very loudly as to what might be medium or high income in Levy County, would definitely not be considered medium or high income in Palm Beach County. So I will show you what they have so far, and I know this is hard to see, but I just want you to, the state has got two lists. Of course, we have the current list that the links in the PowerPoint presentation, which says this job is considered high skill, high wage. That's what the HSHW stands for. I don't know if you can tell there, some of those wages are bolder than others. We're in Region 10. Y'all can always remember that. We're the perfect 10, right? It's Levy, Marion, and Citrus. So you can see for Levy, Marion, and Citrus, these entry wages that are bold are considered to be below that threshold. And about 60% of the regions are below what right now is being listed as medium to high. In our last webinar, we had a conversation about that. What's the expectation? The comment was, well, remember, this is only one of the performance measures. So I don't know what that means. But I think that for you to know where we're at with career and technical education, I think we have strong programs in Levy County. I know I say this to you guys all the time. I always think we have room to grow. That's always our goal, is to be better next year than we were this year. But we will be in a transition year, and I think we'll feel a little pains. But every 2 years, a minimum of every 2 years, a local group will come together with the stakeholders that are listed, administrators, teachers, staff, representatives from special populations, corrections education staff will be engaged, parents and students, business, industry, guidance, data staff, will all be involved every year looking at our current programs, looking at the data for the students who take 2 or more courses in a CTE program. If they take one and they're done, we don't have to include them in our data. But if they take 2 or more courses in a program, they are in that denominator. He said, look at him. And so they are included in the data, and then we evaluate those students, all students, but we also evaluate subgroups. And the way now Perkins is written is if the critical needs assessment does not reflect the need, then the budget in Perkins cannot be used for anything other than what's in that critical needs assessment that is developed every 2 years by a group of stakeholders.
Based on lagging data.
Well, NEFAC's trying to make it so that they can get better reports for us. Graduation rates usually always lagging, but we can definitely, we know what our current data is on technical skill attainment, on industry certification. But graduation is just the way it's reported in. So I did that as quickly as I can. I know there's probably questions. I still have questions. I'm going to a state meeting at Lively Tech in a couple of weeks. Like I said, the regional meeting's coming up in Ocala. So I'm going to say one positive thing. Region 10 has a phenomenal workforce. That is Workforce Board, CLM Workforce Board, Career Source. That's very, very supportive. It's very supportive.
For Region 10 was Citrus.
And Rusty Skinner and Kathleen Woodring do great work for us. Other people are jealous. So we're ready for the challenge, but nervous about it. So I just want to keep you informed about that. I hope that was right for time.
You did wonderful.
Thank you, Ms. Carroll.
You're welcome. You didn't have to speak to me. That's mine.
While you're transitioning, I want to put this out here, as Mr. Tower pointed out to me, but I will vocalize it. We are now moving to item K on our agenda, and I have not heard the word cadre in this, and that is awesome, because ordinarily we hear the term cadre 8 times. Really? There's that many cadres?
Well, I have some of those meetings.
No, do not say it.
U.S.
Don't
history,
say it.
but that's a
Don't say the
different
word
matter.
cadre. We're gonna make it all the way through this one without cadre.
I won't say that word.
Alright.
Thank you. I love it.
Unless Locke comes up here and says cadre.
Mr. Locke, we're gonna talk about the request to advertise and adopt school board policies.
Yes, sir, we are. As you know, we, twice a year, we get sent to us by NEFEX, some NEFEX model policies which come out of new legislation that has been passed. And so that's what we're bringing to you today. Some of these model policies that have been given to us, and I'll just go through that, and then at the end, we'll request permission to advertise these policies. And part of this is a deadline constraint that I'll explain later when we get to our last policy. So 3.06 is a revision, and you'll notice also that as we go through some of these, we are asked to revise current policies, and some of these we have said that the changes are so drastic between what they gave us and what we had that it's better just to scrap what we had and kind of start over and replace it totally. So 3.06, Safe and Secure Schools, you can see that the red writing is what was changed, and that policy was revised to reflect changes in law per statute 1006.07, and deals with threat assessments. And I know we've heard some conversation already today in regard to threat assessment teams and some of the changes that we've had to make in how we do business in regard to threat assessment teams and their role and how they operate within our school system. Okay? Stop me at any time if you have any questions, but I'm just going to go through them.
And just an FYI, I intend on having board policies on every board meeting, so we can discuss, so you can take these things home, read them in its entirety. So they'll come back up for discussion, we can edit, talk about them at the future board meeting until it's time to adopt. Yes, that's after.
So let me just ask you, doing this on the mental health and that we need these interventions. So we have the staff, we have enough staff, because that's a problem. That we need more.
We don't.
Training and mental health people for these things. We have all that in place.
I think that Mr. Weber is really our primary trainer now, and I think you've already heard that we're probably ahead of the curve in regard to other districts.
We actually have 9 trainers in our district in Levy County compared to some other surrounding districts, and some are larger than ours, they only have 2 or 3. So we have built sustainability within our district. We have 9.
In fact, we've had other districts, correct me if I'm wrong, we've had other districts ask if they could borrow some.
Exactly, to come and train in their districts.
Sorry for your luck, you should have done it.
Yeah. Well, we had the money to do it, because now there is no money to do that.
That's wonderful. Thank
Yes.
you.
All right, so going to 4.01, that was a revision student progression plan, and Ms. Carroll actually helped me with that one, and we emphasized that career and technical education and how that came into play because of changes in statute. 4.025 again is academic and career planning. This is really something that we had in place before, and then it went away, and now it's come back, and so because of that, we had to make some changes there.
That's state statute, right?
Yes. Revises the components that are to ensure students are promoted to high school in 2020 year and beyond. So there's going to be a little bit of a gap for some of those students because, again, it was in, then it was out. So we're not held accountable necessarily for those kids that are in that gap. But that was a revision that we made. Let's see what we got next. We got 5.04. This is one that, as we looked at it, we decided it was probably better just to scrap what we had. The last time that had been revised was in 2002, so it was quite old. So we took their model policy, and that is what we're proposing. We did get some input from our health department on that to make sure that we were covering everything that they thought was important in regard to their requirements for original entry.
Mr. Delaney, do you know what would be, obviously, I guess religious, but other exceptions for kids not vaccinated?
The religion is the one that I'm most familiar with. There could be a circumstance if they're medically fragile, then that might not be indicated.
Yeah,
I think maybe
there were some revisions in regard to immunization registry. That was for 381.03 and 1003.22 guard statutes. And again, Ms. Jean Norris was consulted on that. Let's see what we got next. We got zero tolerance, 5.13. Zero tolerance for school-related crimes. And again, we get the new language, which really came down primarily to identifying and replacing the language serious threat with just the word threat. But when we looked at the policy, it was quite old. I don't know the year there, let's see. Looks like 2011 was the last revision. So it also ensures the policy defines petty acts of misconduct, principal notification of personnel and law enforcement, and those consultation requirements as dictated in statute. So we added all of that stuff in there as well. Let's see. So we're going back to 5.38, bullying and harassment. And you'll see there's only one thing that we had to add to that, and anti-Semitic, which we question because, religious harassment or racial harassment seems to fit that definition, but we were instructed that we needed to be more specific on that language, so we put that language in. All right, 6.04, certification of administrative and instructional personnel. This one was kind of handed off to Ms. Hires, and she did a really good job of looking through that proposal and making sure that fit into all of what we were trying to do with that, and added requirements for districts to document district state level resources to assist in certification applications, for those who have not passed the general knowledge exam. Revised the policy to indicate that adjunct instructors are now allowed to be employed full-time, which is something new according to statute 1012.57, the Florida statute. So again, changes that are dictated by changes in statute. Let's see, a 6.042 report of misconduct. We updated that language as required by statute to be a little more specific in what is to be reported. And our statute before the update here was 2014, but there were some things in there that we were missing, including failure to report such conduct to law enforcement forfeits the superintendent's salary for up to 1 year. And Mr. Edison wanted to be sure that we had that updated.
Just as a side note, I do not believe the charter school administrators are held to the standard.
8.01 is our safety. Revises the policy to add requirement that school boards adopt policies to ensure the accurate and timely reporting of sister incidents, which is state statute 1006.07. And again, that was one that we decided to replace totally. The last time that one had been addressed was 2002. So it was just easier to scrap it and go from scratch. Let's see. Our notice of non-discrimination, really the only changes we had changed who was going to be the point person at our district office. And Mr. Weber, with all the new things that are on his plate in regard to threat assessments and active threat drills, and he also does truancy, and he also is our point person for DJJ and any concerns with the court. Does the court all the time for us. You know, that's a lot of extra things that were put on his plate, and Ms. Rivers volunteered, and we really appreciate her stepping forward and volunteering to take over those duties of equity, and this is where this falls in. Notice of non-discrimination, those complaints and things come in under our equity policies, and so she's agreed to take that on, so we just need to make that change. And then our last one, we haven't put a number on this one yet, which we will, obviously. But the last one is on medical marijuana. This is a new policy statute. As the state has given the school districts until the end of December, so we're under a time limit there. But by the end of this year, we are supposed to have something in place. And in order for us to do that, we need to begin that advertisement process as required by statute in order to adopt this policy in our school board meeting in December and comply with their requirement.
Are we having to deal with these issues now?
Okay.
So basically, I'll try to kind of go through the process. Basically, we're not going to be in the process of dispensing medical marijuana. They have to have the medical marijuana card. The parent would have to present that. They would then also have to come in and there would be a designated place that's dictated by the school administration. This is the place to dispense it. The parent comes in, brings it, gives the medication to the student, and then takes that medication with them. We don't store it. We don't really have any role in that process. So that's kind of how the policy guidelines.
And just FYI on this policy, 2 weeks submitted several draft policies to the counselor in different counties. And went through, and this is one that he recommends with a few changes. What you have here? Safety thing?
My first recommendation would be that our policy is we're going to follow federal law, which says that marijuana is legal on a federal basis. It's still So this policy does say if there's a change in federal policy, or if this policy is deemed to be out of step with federal law, we react. But we're not gonna hold it, we're not gonna store it, we're not going to handle it or manage it, we're just gonna provide a place for a parent to protect their child.
That would not interfere with other students' education or them to be exposed to it.
You gotta have a card.
Which is the process, so it would have to be sick child. I don't know how often we'll be dealing with this scenario.
Apparently, it has been prescribed and has proven as beneficial to some kids with autism and some different other medical situations where maybe it's chronic pain or something. Very, very rare, I would say.
Okay. We've been presented with a request to approve to advertise and adopt these policies. It's been moved and seconded to be adopted, advertised, the numerous board policies listed on the agenda. Very
One
discussion.
question. On 4.025 academic and career planning, opportunities available, it mentions the International Baccalaureate Program. Is that going to be offered in one of our?
Well, not currently, but we have looked at some, that and some other possible, we don't want to not have it in there in case it is.
We have the option.
Any other questions?
I don't know if I should have a comment, so I appreciate council's feedback on the new policy, and basically stating that if we get in trouble, we're going to lose federal funding, that we will cease and desist. So,
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. We've advertised. Thank you, Mr. Locke. Are there any additional corrections to the minutes of the October 8th, 19 board? Second, we pass the minutes of the October 8th board meeting. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Consent agenda. We'll just keep going this way. Ms. Wilkins, any questions or comments?
Comment is I haven't ever seen on the agenda job abandonment. That's new to me. Let's see, and then,
what does that mean, Ms. Morrow?
Means that the person did not show up for work, they did not notify their administration, and they have decided to, it's one of our TPG teachers, family problems back home, and he just,
Gotcha. Fabulous job.
Anybody in the pipeline to fill that?
I guess Matt is working on, yes, some things.
and I just have another question. The probationary period, how long is that?
1 year.
1 year, okay. Let's see, the Casino contract on there, what, is that something we do every year? Is that a new one?
I don't know.
It's on the superintendent's list.
Yeah, it's on the
Constantino,
Constantino contract.
5 central principals.
That means it's not something we do every year. This is,
It's new.
it's peer engagement, professional development. That, Mr. Ohio, that our folks have gone to, they highly recommend it, it's an outstanding job.
And so we're gonna bring it to our teachers. Is that right?
Actually, I think this comes to our peer engagement.
So it's titled on.
That's title dollars, and I think it's coming through our administrators.
It is.
That's how it's coming through.
Okay, so it's administrators that'll go to, but
And then the plan is, and Chloe's not here to speak, but we all went to, the NEFAC sponsored this gentleman from DC, former principal and talked about family engagement, how we see we can improve it, et cetera. And so the plan is to first introduce and have him to come and speak to the administrators, and then he's going to come alongside and work with classroom teachers. It's the long-term plan.
Thank you. That's all the questions.
On the tutoring, how do we come up with, as schools, so like on the CMHS, it has reading and math, it has a not to exceed, but then the CMS, W goes in the high school, and the chief one is a total of 80 hours.
It's only because of the hourly rate of the individuals that are doing it dictates the hours. So you have a fixed budget, and the salary of the people doing the tutoring affects it as well.
One of them we have a dollar figure, and one, then the other one we have an hour not to exceed, so that's why I was just curious. So, and then how do we expand that to like Bronson, Tier E, and Yankeetown?
I think that's all within their program or the plan that they have.
School-based decision making.
They have to write the plan and submit it. And not all of the schools that are planning on tutoring, not all of them succeeded the plan. As per conversation I had with Chloe this morning.
Gotcha. So once they submit it, let's see those schools.
Start.
We can't release the dollar until they have the plan.
All right, so we're talking about time, it's all time, it goes back to title dollars. Gotcha. All right. All right. Anyways, Philippians had my question too, I was worried about the Constantine group, so. All right, thank you.
All my questions have pretty well been answered. I always get a little concerned when we have things that we are voting on. And I understand how, we're voting on after they have occurred. We're giving them after. And I always get concerned. I understand time constraints and sometimes Sally decided she wanted to go when she wasn't going. But all my questions.
Saying just that Chelsea Dole is a great addition at Woodsville Elementary, kindergarten teacher.
That's a good sign.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Mr. Superintendent?
Just one quick observation or comment is that we talked previously about the possibility of canceling the second November meeting as it falls within the Thanksgiving week. That will be on Monday. So we'll evaluate that on the next board meeting. The counselor, am I correct, is one board meeting per month and it has to be at night? Okay, so our first board meeting that month is at night. So at that board meeting, we'll have a discussion. I'll probably make an agenda item whether we go there or not, because they have to get it out. So we'll see what we got. And again, I want to reiterate, we won't have all these policies on there.
So it would be the 12th would be our board meeting at night.
Yes.
Our second. And then the last week is our Thanksgiving.
Correct, and the board meeting is scheduled for the Monday of that week.
Of the 25th. And that's the meeting you want to just have it on the Monday or just direct?
Well, it's scheduled on the Monday of that week.
Years past we can't. Sometimes we can't.
Sometimes, last year we did not, we did it on Tuesday night last year, Tuesday. So, yeah, we'll discuss it next week.
Board comments? We'll change it up. We'll start with Mr. Lewinsky and go this way today.
I'll keep it short and sweet. Yankeetown, we're on our way to Yankeetown to do our school visit after the meeting today. And exciting news that we were able to add a VPK class this week in Yankeetown to get some of the kids off the waiting list and get them into the classroom. Fall Festival is Friday at Yankeetown, which is a very big event. I think they'd rather do away with Christmas than miss this Fall Festival. Everyone in that area comes and participates, so it's a big deal. Civics teacher was found I believe, so that's exciting also. And that's it with regard to Yankeetown. I do want to say we met with the Student Achievement Cadre. And Mr. Edison and Dr. Paul and I did, and we've met several times, and yesterday was just a very productive meeting. We're talking about retention rates and Ms. Hires when she meets with our new teachers, setting out expectations and just laying it all out just to retain our teachers as well and know what their expectations are. And we just have a lot. We discussed old programs that are working, new programs that may work, and I just feel good about where we're going within that group because I think that people are going to look at us and say, look what Levy's doing. You know, sometimes we compare ourselves with the nature of the beast, but I think that we're going to really be in charge of that. So.
Mr. Annabelle?
Okay, I have a handful of things and we'll try to make it brief. Bronson FFA fishing tournament was a huge success. The main reason was this year we had good weather. Certainly we caught some big stuff. I do not have a dollar figure for you. I've been told it's extremely successful. October is also Dyslexia Awareness Month. Dyslexia is one of the least and misdiagnosed situations a child can face. But we have made great strides. We will continue to make great strides. There are all kinds of things for helping kids with dyslexia, and that brings us to something else. In my lifetime, I can remember just in my lifetime, a kid was born with a mental deficiency, whatever that was. The kid didn't get to go to school with me. He went over here. And just before my lifetime, I know people that their child that had whatever, they were sent off. And I think it's amazing. Like we had a little boy here today. In just my lifetime, that little boy would have been sent. He gets to stay with his friends. He gets to be a part of this community because of great work like this. And I think Levy County is on the edge of doing great things. And I want to commend Dr. Hall and her people for all that good work. And I've said, well, you know, we go to graduation, at Bronson graduation, we have the kids that go to Bronson Elementary School that may not ever make it. But those are huge moments. And there ain't nothing better. If you hadn't got to do it, I'd encourage everybody to do it. When you hug a kid that ain't supposed to graduate high school, when you hug a kid who graduates high school because she has those opportunities. So I want to commend you on that. Before I get to my big topic, I want to say this. Today, we had, how many, well, we got 13, 14 items on our agenda. Every one of them good news. Every one of them good things. Every one of them, look at the amazing stuff, positive stuff that Levy County School Board is doing, and the teachers and the administrators, all the good things that are going on. And look around. Did we see the actual press and then the people that think they're the press? No. It would be lovely if they were here to share good news instead of trying to tear down something that so many work so hard to do. And this is going to be on YouTube, so I hope that they get to see that. And I would encourage, Real Press covers every story, not just an opinion piece or not just something to stir something. They cover every story. There was a story, there was great stories. It could have filled pages and pages, but we ignored that. And I'm ashamed of those folks that call themselves the press. Now, I want to get to my other thing. We have a fantastic social media outlet that the school board of Levy County uses called Facebook. Not everybody does Facebook, but let me just say, we are always in a conversation about student enrollments dropping. We need people to know what we're doing. This district is doing a great job getting the word out about how many great things are happening in our district. I talked to Ms. Rivers, emailed Ms. Rivers about this because one day I got struck, let's just count. Let's see what those posts are. I said, well, how do we get to that? She said, well, I'm sharing the official pages. And when we get to the end of this, you'll know why this kind of troubles me to say what I've got to say here today. We'll get there. Since September the 1st, there have been 74 posts taken from our various schools' official Facebook pages and shared on the School Board of Levy County page. All these posts involve students, and they are generated entirely by the schools. They are all good things that actual students are doing. This is not posts about information. This is not posts about, hey, we got a weather day. This is
this kid did this child ran this fast, this person did this, all come from our schools. And I tell you this to point out, some of our schools are doing an amazingly great job of still pointing out we are the best gig in town. I think sometimes we lose the mindset. Our product, we're in a product business. You don't realize it, but we're in a product business, and that product is the best possible education you can get. And now, more than ever, we face more competition than has ever existed. Parents have all these options. What better way to find out your options than an advertisement of a good job you're doing? I believe, and I think everybody here believes, that the School Board of Levy County is your best option in this county. Nothing is sadder than when a business, and let's face facts, we are kind of a business. Nothing is sadder when that business that has the best product has to close down because nobody knew they had the best product. We're always discussing this and all that, and when we have social media at our hands, everybody has a smartphone nowadays, pretty much. Everybody has Facebook, or they have Twitter, or they have something, and they're constantly looking at it. It takes about 5 minutes to put a picture, a little story on Facebook. You don't have to be really technically advanced to do that. Anybody can do it. A 5-year-old can do it. Getting all this. Of those 74 posts since September the 1st, 3 of our schools have done an amazingly excellent job of bringing forth the good news about what we do here. And those 3 schools are Cedar Key School, Chiefland Middle High School, and Williston Middle High School. Cedar Key had 17 of those posts. Chiefland, 15 of those posts. Williston Middle School had 13 of those posts. We had 2 schools, one had 2 posts and one had 0 posts. Are we getting the word out? 3 of us are, but a bunch of us aren't. Some of us are doing middle of the road, some of us aren't doing it at all. And when you have something like that, we got some people picking that ball up, carrying it. I commend y'all, I commend your schools. And we got some others, we run as far away from that ball as we can get. We can't expect people to just intuitively know the best product out there is here. We have to let people be aware that what we have to offer is the best. And I think some folks are getting that. Some folks ain't getting that. I would encourage whoever we need to talk to about this, we got to step that game up. Because you know what? We ain't going to say all the good things we're going to do. Who's going to do it? And so, my hat's off to those who are doing a great job. And I think that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I have a question. Mr. Evans, do we have someone at each school that's to do that, a PR person?
We do have a public relations supplement for each school.
So there is one at every school?
Yes, ma'am.
I would assume they generally spend money on them.
It's usually an administrator.
Usually the principal is the one who does stuff, but there is a public relations person.
I will piggyback off of Mr. Asbell there and say, you are so right that if we don't tell our story, then the story that will be told will be 30-second bites at the end of board meetings or things that are buried. So there's no doubt that that is the truth. I also say that between Ms. Barb and Ms. Wade, who is dragging me along and doing everything she can to keep our public relations cadre.
I just want a different word.
Our public relations strategic group, our public relations strategic group.
Okay.
Going along with Ms. Bose, who's I guess is gone, and I believe we have Ms. Melissa from Joyce Bullock, we have Ms. Michael from Chiefland Hill, and let's see, with Katie Corbin from Chiefland Hill High School. That covers everybody that I'm checking out. So, the superintendent had a wonderful idea that's going to be hopefully a collaboration between the district and our foundation. We're in the process of trying to put together a 2 to 3 minute video that can be posted to not only our school sites, but also on Facebook, so people can see the positive things that you go and you leave, and it's hopefully going to be a little bit like similar to the Foundations video that was at the gala, where we accentuate former graduates and just the positive things of what each community, of what they're known for. And as you have Bronson Strong, which I saw that there was some t-shirts that were given out to the class of 20 and different things. So each community is unique in what they bring to the table. So we're trying to track that. So there's no doubt that your words need to be resounded, that we've got some schools that continue to do a better job. So Seafood Festival, unfortunately, we had bad weather on Saturday, so they canceled it. And as you know, just like Yankeetown, we got two opportunities. We have the Arts Festival, the Seafood Festival, and people came out in droves on Sunday. So it's going to be a unique year to see, because that's how a lot of the clubs and the classes, that's how they pay for the extra things that they want to do, and some of the necessary things. Also, Cedar Key has a fall festival coming up on November 1st, so we'll try to do that. And then the roof on the gym is complete, so thankful for Gainesville Roofing, what they did. So they did a chip-up job down there for us. And then Beast Feast is this weekend, so if you need tickets, contact me, I'll get you taken care of. So, and I'll leave anything else for later.
I agree with all of that, and we do need to post and tell about our schools and all the good things, because there are some great things out there. And Mr. Edison and I had the opportunity to go to a great thing that we saw the teachers do, and it was a new program, and I really can't think of the name of it right now, Barb, but it was a forestry.
Project Learning Tree.
Project Learning Tree, that's it. It was fantastic. I was so excited about it, and they had all the literature, and it met all the standards, and went all the way through, what was it, 5th grade too?
8th grade.
8th grade. And we had teachers from all over the county, and they were there. And I really looked at the pre-K, and they had the kindergarten books and the literature there, and so I think we need to share it with them too, and that'd be great to let them go to those classes and training. But it was very detailed. The teachers were extremely, the presenters were very knowledgeable, very hands-on. So I thought it was great. It was fantastic, and it was different. What was your opinion?
It was really a great opportunity, and they will probably do it again in the future. But I also know to piggyback, this week they're at Chiefland, Usher Farms.
Yesterday.
They were there, and in fact, I just shared your post about what they were doing with the students at that school. But it was an excellent hands-on training. There were conversations that teachers were having is about how to adjust it to their grade level, what they would do different with their grade levels, how this would be with the standards, or what they could do to make sure it was covering the standards. So it was really well done. They had some good resources on that.
Yeah, that was neat, and I really believe in getting students, they learn great getting out of the classroom as well too. There's a lot of learning in the classroom, but when we can get them out of the classroom too and hands-on, that's a wonderful environment too. And so, and I don't know about the Bluebell ice cream thing that's coming to Chiefland Elementary. Tell us about that too, that the kids will get to the ice cream.
Are you talking about the Ag Day?
I don't know, I just saw.
Was it yesterday that it was a good introduction?
Yesterday, I'm honestly not sure about, I know we have an ice cream delivery that goes along with the Ag Day that they have next Saturday. Where they bring in the equipment in, and it's, they're doing rotations during our special area time, where they'll do the lessons, but they also get to go see the equipment and things like that. We have the Ag Literacy Day is today. No, wait, that's Tuesday? Tomorrow's Wednesday. The high schoolers are coming to do the literacy with the students. So we had the forestry group there yesterday, so it's all kind of leading up to Monday when they do the ice cream during rotations.
Right. And then Mr. Edison and I will be there at your school for Purple
Thursday,
Pinkies.
yes, Thursday.
Yes, so we're all excited about that, and so we'll be sure and share those great things that we're doing in the schools too. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Brookins. I don't have a lot, I'm not going to talk about toll roads today, Mr. Edison. We don't have any weekend here, so really busy in Wilson this week, so homecoming week, parade Thursday afternoon, 5. I'll send an email, and if anybody wants to ride, we'll be behind what used to be the hospital. Not the hospital, football field.
I thought you were gonna say we're following horses.
We'll leave that out there, Mr. Hasbro. FFA fundraiser Friday night, barbecue dinner. Tickets are still for sale, and I think you can buy them at the door also. And then, of course, Saturday evening, Beast Feast. So, all in the great town of Wilson this week. I know we're building floats at Mr. Lindsay's house, if anybody wants to come help. I saw a Facebook post last night. Yes. I just want to hang on, get it all the way down out there. First thing I got.
He's gonna take a picture of it and done.
Anyway, brought back memories when you say glue guns. So that's about it, though. And I agree with Mr. Asbell. There's, I probably don't do a good enough job on Facebook. I do more monitoring than I do posting. It takes me a lot of time to read all yours. Consumes my time and do it. But you do a great job in setting an example, really, because we try, and I think it's been a focus of our board, and I hope that people understand what we're doing within our communities to help boost our own morale, is to help the whole county. And I want to end the night without saying that, or today without this opportunity. There are a lot of great things going on in Williston. If you'd like to come over and watch some things that happen, we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you.
Passport.
Thursday, no, sir, you're more than welcome, free of charge, so. Except for Saturday night.
Saturday night.
Right. All right. This-
I just have to defend Yankee County, if they post that they don't share it to Lee County, I think it's important to take it a step further and share it to the school board website.
Well, if they share, if there's school posts, I will get it.
Okay.
Sometimes if the principal posts, I don't share those because then it gets a little crazy. So if they'll post to your school site, then I can share it.
Okay, I'll pass that along.
Kind of the way it works is that those are her, all schools are her favorites. And
Those are the first things that pop up
they
on
pop
our
up, so if she sees them and she shares them. But if individuals see them or posted, it may not come to her because she doesn't know to look for them.
I'll pay you too, because I see Yankee Town School all the time on my Facebook posts. Anyway,
International Convention is next week. We have a lot of kids going up to Indianapolis every day. So,
lot of moves.
a lot more.
We've got some national award winners up there.
Any other items of business? We do have a, yes, so we have a school visit in Yankee Town. We will discuss how we're going to get it. I need to drive.
Yeah, I'll drop them. We're just going to be here in town.
I'm not.
So we're going straight to the school, or you want to feed
Yeah,
us
the
lunch
agent
first?
said that give her a call and run our way. So,
We better go first,
we should
because,
probably get to school first.
yeah, because they're going to be out.
Time-wise.
That'll be 45 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Motion to adjourn? Yes. No objection to your adjournment. Thank you.